Oh my god, so Nintendo just released another trailer out of nowhere for Paper Mario and the Origami King, and I, myself, am stoked for this game. Everything I see is just making me more and more excited, except for when it comes to the possible analysis, because even though there's nothing really earth-shattering in this trailer for the most part, at least when compared to how much we managed to break down in the first one, there's still a lot to talk about here. So rather than kill myself with another hour-long analysis, like based on the script and going through frame by frame, I thought we'd try something a little bit different, and that's doing a real-time analysis, pointing out all the details I've noted myself, along with my good friend here being Triss. How are you doing, Triss?
Pretty good. Swamped already by Paper Mario.
I believe it, because you were joining us, you did your own analysis over at Source Gaming. You're also a mod for us on our Discord channel, by the way. And I think you went through almost as much hell as we did in our own analysis, trying to look at everything in the first trailer. And I just thought it'd be, if there's a person that's as qualified as me to be analyzing this, it has to be you. So I thought we'd have you on board and help us go through all the footage here and just point out all the details that people might have missed in both the trailer as well as all the new footage from the websites and screenshots. So there's a lot to get through here, Triss. So are you ready to go through it with me?
Yeah, definitely, and I'm honored to be helping.
Alright, I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to have you here, Triss, so let's just get to it. Alright, so first off, the trailer begins basically with footage we've already seen. There is one kind of new scene here coming up in just a moment, where we see the ribbons latch onto the castle. It starts lifting it up in the air as the flower bed falls away. And here we see Mario actually falling away from the clown car that he was being rescued in. So originally I thought that he was being taken to Bowser's airship before being blown off to what I assumed to be the forest region, which does seem to be true based on scenes coming up. However, I know in your analysis, Triss, you found some footage that existed elsewhere that I missed that basically showed a little bit of sequence too, where we explicitly see Mario, I think, being blown out of the clown car. So, so this isn't entirely new, but I think a lot of people missed it because it wasn't in the trailer. So
yeah, exactly. It was only on the Japanese website.
So it's kind of interesting to see that little detail filled in now, so we kind of get the better idea of how Mario, what happened to Mario after being rescued. It really, I guess it still was kind of a rescue, because he escaped the castle, but he ends up being blown away somewhere where he didn't intend to be. Anyways, moving on, we see basically more of the first trailer. There's nothing too new here. More Peach, more Bowser freaking out.
Just some new menacing text.
Exactly. Here's our first key new scene, and that's where we see Mario using confetti, just tossing it up in the air, basically seemingly confirming that's what the bag icon on the HUD is for. We can see it shake a little bit here. That seems to be your confetti bag. And what it does is, I think it was confirmed either in the trailer or on the website, is it fills in these blank spots in the environment. So it works a little bit like paint in Color Splash. And that's actually exactly what I speculated, or that's basically what I speculated it would work like, how it would work in the first analysis. So it's nice to see that it is covered here. Is that what you expected too, Triss?
I definitely was curious on what the confetti did originally, because I remember there was that scene with the little gondola down the river, and you had to throw a confetti button, but there wasn't really any other instance of that button. And you can tell that the bag was definitely tied to something you collected. And some of those holes were definitely in spots that it's puzzling, in the sense that you have to clearly fill it in somehow in order to progress.
Exactly. So yeah, it does seem to be very paint-like in that way, but like Color Splash, I mean. But in this case, it seems like it will be like filling in actual like impasses or obstacles you couldn't pass before. So I think it's taking that what worked before to a greater degree, I suppose. All right.
It makes it a better puzzle, for sure.
It does, absolutely. Here we have an entirely new location, which is in what appears to be a diner, and we can see a Goomba icon or a Goomba like logo here, so seemingly suggesting it's run by Goombas. And sure enough, we can see Goombas everywhere. We can see one on the ground right here. We can see another creeping around the table on the right.
Actually, the one up top is moving. I think it's just stuck up there.
Oh, is it? Oh, you're right. So it's actually not even a logo. So good call. We see another moving around on the table with a menu. We can see another stuck on the wall there, and we can even see the cupboard on the right shaking, suggesting there might be another one inside. So there are Goombas everywhere here.
They've wrecked the place.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess you have to. I don't know if you have to unflatten them, perhaps, or what exactly is going on here. But what is interesting here is we can see what appears to be an entranceway into another room, what seems to be maybe a kitchen, and I believe we'll actually see that scene coming up soon, so stay tuned.
I think actually something interesting to note here is kind of the drawn looks on the wall, because they're covering things already there. Like, if you look on the left side, they're covering what looks to be some sort of like portrait or painting on the wall.
Right.
Like, these drawings are kind of already covering it. So they look to be added. So I don't know if that means you remove them or if you interact with them in any way.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm not quite sure. We'll find out. All right, moving on. We have, I think we saw this basically the same location before, so nothing too new here. We have another underground sequence, which might take, I think this takes place in the area with the red ribbon.
Yeah,
we'd seen,
you can see from Mario's HP too is pretty low, so this has to be pretty early.
Exactly, and we'd seen underground areas in the first trailer that had similar patterns as we're seeing in the background here.
Right.
So yeah, and we, as you can see, we have a couple moving platforms here. Above a spike pit, evidently, so you don't want to fall down there. That looks like it'd be pretty bad. And we see some torches that we also saw in the previous trailer where they had the giant rolling ball, like the Indiana, or not ball, but like giant rolling cog or whatever.
Right. We can see we see there's a toad behind like the destructible wall back there. So whether that's meant to be a hint and the wall actually gets destroyed, or you just kind of go back there, like there's maybe like a hidden path back there.
Good catch.
But evidently, I think you have to rescue that toad.
Yeah, I didn't even see that toad back there. So yeah, is that a green toad it looks like?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
looks like it.
So it looks like you will be smashing away through that in some way. Maybe with the thousandfold arms, perhaps? Yeah, I'm not quite sure how you're going to reach that, so... Anyways, moving on. Oh, actually, real quick too. I just noticed that this part reminds me a little bit of like a shrine from Breath of the Wild. I don't know why. It's not a shrine. Just the entranceway reminds me a little bit of it. Anyways,
I think it's the markings.
Yeah. So we have another look at the desert here, and this is where at first it looks like there's nothing really too new going on here, but there's actually a couple of things. We saw the same basic perspective before, but we see a little bit more of the right side for right now. We can see there's actually, we could just barely see one of these bird statues before, but now we can see there are 2 bird statues at the least, and then, spoiler, there's actually more coming up. We'll be taking a look at that. But here's something cool. We actually get a much better look at what's going on in the distance there. So let me go ahead and zoom in here. Can you see that?
It's like a save block.
Can you see that magnifying glass? Okay, perfect. So a couple of things. One, I thought this might have been a chest before in the background. Instead, that actually seems to be a warp pipe that connects to the warp pipe room we saw in the first trailer. That did a huge...
Oh, and it has a 3 on it too.
Exactly, matching the 3 from the one in the room. So that seems
exactly.
So that does confirm what I speculated, that color pipe would take you to the desert. This is just an explicit confirmation of it. And we know exactly where it takes you. So that's pretty useful. But in the background, though, we can now fully see what's going on there, and that is we can see a save block, as you mentioned, along with some kind of podium that's flanked by a pair of lanterns. Now, we can't really see the detail of what's going on in that podium, or whatever you want to call that little area, but there is a scene coming up that will show it off, so we'll have more on that in a moment. Let me go ahead and get rid of the magnifying glass, if I can remember how. Okay, I can't remember how, so we'll just get rid of the cursor for now. So we'll continue on to, let's see, yeah, nothing else. I think there's nothing else new going on here. So we'll go into the temple where we get a look at these statue things opening up, revealing, what are they called? The origami, not origami, paper mache Goombas, or like mummy Goombas, I guess.
Yeah, it's a little odd. It's the giant paper mache mummified, coming out of honestly rather creepy looking giant toad heads.
Yeah, very creepy. So I think, as I speculated before, I think this is taking place inside the Goomba Tower, which we can just barely see on the left side right there.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that assessment, or?
Yeah, it definitely looks like it's in the Toad Tower, considering the toad heads here seem to match that.
Right.
This is probably like the entrance to it, like the very base of it, like once you get right inside.
Speaking of entrances, we can see an entranceway right here, it seems, that will open up at some point, I guess. Mm-hmm. All right, continuing on. We have a brand new scene involving the chain shop. Now, we actually saw the chain shop, I believe, in a screenshot before, where it was chasing after Mario and Kamek. And that was taking place in the jungle region, and sure enough, we can see a little sign of that in the upper left corner here. And it looks like we are on a floating island. We're in the sky, it seems. We're running along a catwalk away from the chain shop. So it seems that this scene might take place before the screenshot where Kamek and Mario are being chased by it.
We can actually see, if you look behind the bag icon, we can see Olivia and Kamek already up ahead. and Mario's
you're right.
running to them.
Good call. So that really confirms it. Yeah, my microphone's actually blocking that corner of the screen, so I'm glad you saw that. All right, perfect. That's why you're here, Tris. We have another scene. I think this is the same scene from the first trailer, showing off the squid boss.
Actually, I think this was only in a screenshot originally.
Oh, was it
I
only
don't
a
remember
screenshot?
seeing him animated.
Okay, so this, I guess it is technically a new scene then, but nothing too new about it. Here we see the castle being plopped onto the mountain that I predicted from the analysis, which I'm so happy. I love it whenever I see my predictions come true. Of course, I don't like seeing the ones that don't come true, but we ignore those.
It's a good feeling to see that your prediction was right.
Do you think this title card actually appears in the game, or is this just for the trailer?
It kind of reminds me of the opening scene in Paper Mario 64, where like when Mario's falling through the sky, it shows the title then.
Right.
I can almost see this being when this is put, because there wouldn't be too much gameplay before then, other than just kind of walking around, potentially talking to NPCs if there are any.
And the timing or the parallel with you mentioning how with Mario, I think, landing in the other game, that would match up perfectly with what's about to happen here, from what we assume coming in a scene coming up, which hopefully will be pretty soon. All right, so continuing on. So that castle, or that mountain, by the way, is right behind Toad Town. So this isn't far off. You can see it in the background of the scene when the castle gets moved. It doesn't really get moved all that far, it seems.
Just very high up.
Exactly, yeah. In a little bit of a treacherous looking area. All right, continuing onward. Here we go, perfect. We can see Mario at the castle, seeing exactly where it got taken to. So yeah, it's a good view of it. Not a whole lot to say here, except for the fact that you'll be able to get that view from one of the castle turrets, I guess.
What's interesting about this too is, I pointed out in my analysis, this is the only one of those towers you can get up on. There's a whole section where you can see there's like a side entrance to the wall, and it leads to a staircase up here, but you never actually see what's up here.
Good point.
So I don't really know what the point here is, and we don't see him walk towards the camera, so there might be something up there.
Yeah, I wonder, did he, this must be, did he return here after coming from the forest, I'm guessing? That must be what happened. And
yeah, that's what I think.
Glimpse of what lies ahead. But yeah, the exact order of events is a little tricky. You know, like, why is he here? Is he just scoping things out? So. All right, continuing on, we get a look at the distant river, like mountain river region, where we'll see Mario riding. It's kind of funny that he rides a gondola to get here, where he'll also catch another gondola while here, which we'll see in another scene coming up. We can see a lot of detail, so we can see this is the gondola station here. You can see he'll get off, he'll disembark right here at the station itself. We can see the ribbon, of course, wrapping through the region. Let's see. We can see something like a fish flopping around as we get a closer up look at it a little bit later. We can see a series of bridges taking you through here. Other than
looks to be some sort of folded up toad, like right in the middle, under like around the platform you get off on.
Oh yeah,
I think that's what that is.
Let's go ahead and zoom in there. Yeah, we can see. Yeah, I think is that a green toad, perhaps?
It looks like a kind of a green toad, just literally just like crumpled up and just kind of tossed aside. And then there's a red toad down at the bottom in what looks like a little cave.
Oh yeah, there he is, right down there. Lots of toads sneaking around, hiding about.
I mean, they do say we do have to find a lot of them.
we can see a green pipe up here as well. Not quite sure how you'll get up there, but there you go. Okay, I don't think there's much else going on here, so let's go ahead and continue on. Oh, we can actually see Mario riding the gondola, of course.
Right.
Along with, let's see, is the bomb on there currently?
Yep.
Yep, yeah, you can see the little spinner on the back, so great. We get a cute little shot of the desert where we can see those birds I was talking about. So there's far more than just two. There are 3, 4, 6 of them, it looks like. I'm not quite sure. Is that a block in the distance? Do you see
it looks like a question mark block.
It does, yeah, or a save block maybe. There's already one nearby, so that probably wouldn't be a save block. So I think here, yeah, that might be a question block. Otherwise, not a whole lot else new going on here. This does seem to be maybe a cutscene, though, with Mario just taking in the desert and Olivia doing her thing.
Yeah, this might be like when they first get there.
That could be. I do love the boot he rides around in, by the way. We talked about that before. I love that classic look. All right, here's actually something pretty informative. In that we saw a scene in the ocean in the previous trailer, but there wasn't a whole lot going on. But this time there's a fair amount happening. So we have these like buoy things in the bottom portion here. I don't know what they mark. do they start like some kind of mini game, or like they remind me of ones you could find in Wind Waker, where you could go between the buoys for like I think rupee rewards maybe.
Oh yeah. Where it starts like a little mini game to follow rupees.
Exactly.
I almost get the feeling that's where you start from.
Right.
In this case.
Yeah, that could be.
Like that might mark the way to the port back to Toad Town or something.
Especially because based on the first trailer, it looked like you may not have full like camera control. Like it seems like the camera may, in Paper Mario fashion, may be pretty much permanently fixed behind your boat in this case, right?
Right.
So it kind of makes sense that there's like a start point, if that is in fact what that is. We can also see Cheep swimming around up here. We can see one diving into the water. It looks like
we see.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say we see a Shy Guy alone on an island on the right, but we see more of that later.
Yeah, correct.
It looks like the Cheeps. One of them looks different, like a much brighter yellow up by the top, like as it moves. But it could just be the head of a Cheep. It's really hard.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell.
So far away.
Yeah, like that thing in the background, right? Yeah. It's really hard to tell what that is. So. All right, continuing on, we get another look at the jungle/sky region, which, by the way, I think we'll touch on this more later. I believe this actually takes place, or I mean, this has to take place within like the general vicinity of the forest, based on the green ribbon that wraps through it. I would think.
Yeah. So this definitely seems like one of the last or later areas, though, given the green ribbon and the order of events as we kind of piece together in each of our analyses. I think what's most striking about this is this, like, almost return of Super Paper Mario's Over There. This very angelic vibe going on.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Right, it's been so long since I played that game. Yeah, absolutely. So I think, too, getting back to what you were saying with this being a later part of the game, I think, since it looks like you'll start in the forest, which I think the green ribbon does seem to wrap through, this might be an area that you return to later on into the game. Assuming the green ribbon actually wraps through it. It looks like it does on the world map. It's hard to tell if it actually does within the game itself.
Yeah, so. I think it definitely seems like it would be late game because it looks like this green ribbon wraps around the source of Bowser's Castle.
Right.
In the background up there, which it's strange that it's around here, but I guess that was another thing that got taken away.
Wait, so are you saying up there?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
it's a little weird that Bowser's Castle's next to this kind of heaven for toads.
Is that? Well, that's what I was wondering. Oh, you're right. I mean, actually, didn't even notice Bowser's face there before. So yeah, that is what appears to be Bowser's Castle with the giant spiked ceiling. Wow, that's very interesting. I don't know what's happening here.
So I think what seems to happen based on the order of events from the earlier trailer as well, there's the whole scene with Bowser's airship, and then it gets taken out, and then Mario lands in like the jungle with Bowser Jr. and Kamek,
right.
And then they follow the green ribbon, which leads them up to the floating islands, which is what this is, and I guess it happens to also be where Bowser's Castle is. I guess Bowser's Castle is. It seems like that's the source of the green ribbon because you kind of see it swirling around the top of the spikes.
Right. I mean, I wonder did Bowser's Castle get relocated too then in a manner similar to Peach's Castle?
That's what it seems like.
Yeah, Bowser loves his lava, right? So he should be hanging out there. A couple other things to note: there is some kind of like fountain business happening up here in this like shrine or whatever temple thing. Yeah, like a blue and red fountain. I can't quite make out what they're toads. It looks like.
They're winged toads. There's a few on the left side as well, where they're like standing on top of pillars, on
right,
like the far left side of the screen. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to find.
If you go like up by the back, yeah, there they are. Yep.
And then there's a Shy Guy here as well. And then you can see that when they pass behind an object like the ribbon, you can see their silhouettes shine through, which is cool.
Which is definitely nice, yeah.
And Kamek is in fact still carrying Bowser Jr. on his back, as he pointed out in the previous analysis, so they haven't unraveled him. So it just provides some context as to this series of events.
There is something else interesting. If you back it up a little bit to right before they go under, there's this weird kind of color wheel down in the bottom left corner, like right under the island.
Right.
It almost looks like a propeller holding up the island.
Oh,
but I don't know what else it would be.
I guess.
That's what's hard to tell.
Yeah, that is that's an odd one. What is that down there? Yeah, I'm not quite sure. It's very colorful. All right. I guess anything else in this scene? There's some islands in the distance. We can see some wreckage, which appears to be from Bowser's Castle, perhaps, or maybe not. Yeah, maybe
kind of crashing in.
Exactly. That's what I'm wondering.
And there's a save block off to the left, so we know this place is obviously important, but that's about it there, I think.
All right, so here we have the forest region that I mentioned, which I'm pretty confident is where Mario lands in early in the game. I think another scene basically confirms it. If I remember correctly. So this is where on the world map, or I say world map, I mean the zoomed out view of Toad Town. It looks like the green ribbon might be wrapping through here, but I don't know if it actually does or not in gameplay. So, because I don't think we see it in the forest, so in the scenes in the trailer at least. But this scene's old. Here we get a better look at the gondola station we pointed out before, with Mario disembarking from the gondola right there. We can see the bomb buddy, and let's see. We can see that
there's that kind of flopping fish thing, which is seemingly a toad that's been folded up, based on later scenes.
That's what I would guess.
I wonder if you can interact with those pile of leaves too.
That's a good one. I'm sure you can. I'm guessing you just hammer it and send them flying everywhere.
Yeah, or something.
There's a
Spiny.
Spiny, thank you. Hanging out over there, and yeah, that's about it. Here we get a look at what appears to take place within the Ninja Mansion, I believe, is what they called it in the trailer.
Yep.
Where they you can see Mario revealing a Ninja Toad. Not a whole lot else to say about this room. It seems to take place within that same, village we've seen elsewhere, and we'll be seeing more of soon.
It's interesting that Mario's at 90 HP for that also.
Good point.
It definitely seems like the HP scaling is better than what we saw in Color Splash and Sticker Star for sure.
So that seems to suggest that this is kind of like a mid-game area. But I think your health maxed out at 150 in Color Splash, if I remember correctly.
Well, I think order of events from both of our analysis showed the Ninja Town is in the second area. It's on the Autumn Mountain. Because there's a lot of the autumn themes, like even the lamp on the left here has kind of the autumn leaves.
That's true.
Which is seemingly the second area. And if Mario starts at 50 HP, that would mean, what? Like, if it's going every, 20 or so, it'd be, two HP level ups?
Yeah, I guess we don't know. Well, but we've also seen increments of 5, too, for the HP, right? So I guess it's hard to tell exactly how much time has transpired. But yeah, the second area would make sense. Here we get a look at the sewers. And I love that mural of Paper Mario and Paper Peach. It's just adorable.
I love how it looks like graffiti art. That's such a nice touch there.
It is. And then Mario apparently I guess he'll be turning on the lights at certain points or turning on the power, at least at this point, to turn on the lights. I don't know exactly what you'll be doing down here, but I guess this might be below Toad Town, do you think, or?
Yeah, this might be below Toad Town, and I'm wondering if this might be like a callback to previous Paper Mario games where those quick travel pipes are eventually found. Like maybe you have to go through the underground of Toad Town to reach that point.
Right. That's what I wonder too. I'm playing the 1,000-Year Door right now, and exactly the warp pipes are all hidden in the sewers. But the difference is this time there's a central room for them all. So do you access that room via the sewers? That's the real question.
Yeah, that's the question.
So. All right, moving on. We get another look at this amazing Sniffit Vegas town. I don't think there's a whole lot here that we haven't already discussed before. So we will continue.
No, it looks about the same footage-wise, yeah.
Yeah. We'll continue through it. Here we get another look at the jungle with Kamek and Bowser Jr. Attached to his back. I don't think there's a whole lot new going on here either, though. Although we can't see him smash through a plant in the way.
Which is nice to see, just to be able to get that confirmation of interacting with other things in the overworld.
Exactly. So that might be a little bit fun. You might be able to discover hidden paths that aren't immediately clear, just based on the foliage covering them.
I still love seeing Kamek holding Bowser Jr.
That's
on the
so
back
great.
like that. It's really funny.
This is actually a really good look at Bowser Jr. rolled up. You can very closely see Bowser Jr. now. Because before, you mostly see, from the back angle, you mostly see the clown car. But yeah, that's very explicitly Bowser Jr. rolled up with the clown car. Here we get a look at what I believe was a kitchen we saw from the diner scene. I think this is what's hidden behind that wall there. And we can see a few details here. For one, we can see a whole bunch of Goombas in here. So I wonder if this takes place before the previous scene that we saw, because the Goombas are now being unleashed, it seems.
Yeah, this seems to be when they get spread out everywhere.
Right. We can see on the pots and jars various frowning faces, like a surprised face or something. There's some diagrams on the wall, like hearts and steam, and a giant carrot for some reason. I'm not quite sure.
And a giant pepper over on the left, too. It seems to be, kind of like the previous one, like a bunch of graffiti, because you see the carrots covering, what seems to be a bunch of notes on the wall. So it definitely seems like someone came in here with very high artistic skill, mind you, and just graffitied the whole place.
Right, exactly. And given that Mario has 70 HP, this has to be fairly early into the game too, though I'm not quite sure where. Maybe within this, possibly within that same town we were just talking about, but there's no indication of that.
This could potentially be Toad Town too.
It could possibly, yeah, this could absolutely be Toad Town too. Yeah, you're totally right. It might be totally right.
We see Mario's also low on confetti since the bag is red and it looks pretty empty.
Good point.
So he probably doesn't have any confetti on him right now.
Next up, we can see Mario dodging a bunch of thwomps, which we've seen before, but now we see it in action, whereas I think it was a screenshot before.
Yep.
Otherwise, not a whole lot else going on there beyond this being in the Red Ribbon region, I believe, based on the appearance of everything around it.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
We had this scene before, so nothing new here. Now we actually get a look at the fact that you can actually restore this bridge, which is actually right next. It's just to the right of this scene. So this bridge is out, but we can see how you unravel it by just lifting up the tape, like we've seen in games like Sticker Star and I think maybe Color Splash 2. The bridge unravels and you can now cross it. And that's how you can get into the castle on the right side, it seems. So maybe this took place before Mario climbed up to that turret.
Yeah, it seems like it. Also, the warp pipe on the very far left outside of Peach's castle.
Right.
That actually reminds me of the warp pipe in the quick travel room that we saw in that previous trailer, where Mario stands next to kind of an unmarked green warp pipe, and then there's all the marked ones for the quick travel areas. And I think that would actually make a lot of sense to put it there, because it's like right in the central area and really accessible. You might be right.
Although I thought that the pipe, to me, the pipe looked like it was a grayish color, similar to what you would find in the actual sewers of Thousand Year Door or Mario 64.
Yeah, which is true.
So but that could be a trick of the lighting. So and it doesn't, and the pipes don't even necessarily have to match on either side either. So you absolutely could be right, and that would be a good kind of central location for that pipe to be. So, all right, let's continuing on. We get another look at Mario in the car. Love that boot car. Now we get
accelerating.
We get a really close-up look at the Toad Tower itself this time. We can see at the base a better look at the save block, but also the entranceway. You can see the staircase climbing up it. So the only thing that trips me up with some of the scenes that might take place in that tower is just how small it looks from the outside, whereas on the interiors, from what we think might be inside, they're quite big. So is that just, artistic light or poetic license, or?
Well, I think Mario's no real stranger to the idea of, not to sound Doctor Who, but bigger on the inside with a lot of things.
Exactly.
Because I think if the overworld depicted things exactly for what the size would be, that would be a bit difficult. And I think that this is more, not to make it sound like a world map, but this is more like a world map.
Yeah, I think with the vehicles,
opposed to normal overworld gameplay.
I think when it comes to the vehicle segments, that's kind of what we're looking at with the boat and the car. It does kind of like change the scale of things a little bit, where it is a little bit more world map-esque, seemingly. So that's kind of a fun way of handling it. Do you have any idea what that yellow thing is on the back? Is that like more tape, perhaps, or?
I almost want to say it might be a toad that's stuck to it. That if you just kind of interact with it, it would pop off. But it almost looks like a hole in the tower.
Yeah, actually, that might be the case too as well. It's really hard to say. It's hard to say for sure. Moving onward, you see the tower actually rotate. Actually, first off, there's a lot going on here.
There is.
So there's some Goombas trapped seemingly, or sorry, not Goombas. There's some toads seemingly trapped in the desert. There is a cactus with a skull on it. There's a crow flying around right here. So already there's a bunch going on. Then we have the whole tower rotating for some reason.
I think this definitely proves what we were saying, though, of it seems like a world map, because it's like you would approach it, and then this happens. Also, strangely, the safe block's on the opposite side of it now, but...
Oh, you're right! What the heck?
Actually, the stairs go the opposite way, too, so it's like it fully rotated. It did fully rotate.
Well, no, I mean, the other things, the cactuses aren't around it here either, so either the scale changes when you get out of the vehicle. Wait, are we still? Can we even see Mario in this scene? No, we can't see Mario. So either the scale changes, or there's actually multiple Toad Towers. And based on
that's possible too, yeah.
Based on the fact that it's lining itself up to shoot a laser beam, I'm getting Breath of the Wild vibes with the four the beasts. What are they called? The legendary beasts or whatever.
Oh, the divine beasts.
Divine beast, yeah. So I wonder if they are all targeting like a central location. So you have to go inside each tower, rotate it, and have it like shine the light somewhere. And maybe, I mean, I don't know if it's shining onto a central location or if it's showing you where to go next. Maybe each tower shines to the next. Who fully knows?
Oh, actually, you might be right too, because if you look back at the previous one, and I know from older footage, one of the tower that we originally see has like the yellow ribbon going around it, but we don't see it here at all.
That's a great point. Yeah.
So it actually might be a completely different one. You're right.
I'm thinking it is. Yeah. I'm thinking that there are multiple towers now. That save block really just started a cascade of events here. All right. Next up, we have another look at the another gondola scene, which we saw a glimpse of in the first trailer. This time, though, we can actually see some of the obstacles you'll be dodging, including falling rocks, possibly as well this floating log here or tree. We can see a heart icon you can grab on the left, which will fill up your gondola's life bar. Yeah, more falling boulders. So not
the Babam and Olivia look way too relaxed.
Yeah, right.
On here.
Mario's a little ready.
Whereas Mario and the Toad kind of steering it, they both look like ready to battle.
So this is again in the the blue ribbon area, which we don't see right now, but it might still just be overhead. In fact, we can actually see this. I don't think actually that shadow probably isn't it. But yeah, so the ribbon should be winding its way through here, unless it's gone already somehow. All right, next.
This might just be a different section of that kind of mini game.
It could be for sure. Next up, we have this amazing look at. I don't even fully know what's going on here, but it immediately reminded me of the battle scenes from the combat sequences from Thousand Year Door, where you have an audience watching Mario battle another character on stage, which is just too perfect. So Mario's taking on like a cowboy Spike here. They're both holding guns. There's some kind of like standoff or duel. As again, we have an audience watching. We also have some paper mache Shy Guys in the background, along with a Toad who has his poor head like wrapped up and like all crunched up
in rubber bands.
Yeah. So what's your take on what's going on here? Is this like a mini game? Is this kind of like a battle sequence? What are you thinking here?
So this seems to be, well, because we can see down below, we see Olivia and the Babam kind of watching. So I don't think it's a full-on battle, because I think they would be participating.
Right.
So this seems to be Mario and everyone, I guess, going along with something, maybe to draw like a greater enemy out or something. And the rubber bands around the Toad squeezing his poor head makes me think of that giant rubber band hair tie thing that we see from the earlier trailer and we see again later on. So this might be tied to that, given we also see that thing walking down a stage.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point. That possibly could be all related. So I do love the look of this, of just this like western town. I'm specifically reminded of the I think Mystery Town or Hidden Town in Twilight Princess, where you go through and like take down all the baddies.
Oh, right.
Right?
Yeah.
So yeah. So I'm very curious to see what's happening, what exactly is happening here. Like, are they just acting out a play? Is Mario just playing a part in this?
No. It's also interesting because I remember from the original release of the trailer and screenshots, there was also a screenshot of Mario dancing with a bunch of like paper mache Shy Guys in like tutus, and Mario's getting involved in a lot of stage plays.
He is, yeah. There's a lot going on here. It seems like he's actually like just hanging out with the enemies more than he's like fighting them.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and continue onward.
All right.
To another boat sequence, which I think basically mirrors what we saw in the first trailer. It's a little bit extended, but nothing too new here. But then we do see something entirely new, being a game show called Shy Guys Finish Last, which I'm very curious to see how that works.
This is definitely a step up from Sticker Star and Color Splash's Sniffer to With It.
Yeah, no kidding. We can see a bunch of Shy Guys in the audience. We can see I think a camera right down there, as well as a stage light. We get a look at the game show host to the right, and we can see that there's we can see what appears to be like a Jeopardy-like board. You can choose a category and the point values. We have Ring Scramble, Race in Place, Ninja Skills, or Bath Math for 10, 20, or sorry, 10, 30, or 50 points, levels 1, 2, or 3, respectively. So I'm thinking these are actually mini games.
Yeah.
And we actually see more what might be related to this later on, perhaps. So I wonder, in fact, I almost wonder if that stage show, I don't think it's related, but I wonder if there's a possibility if it could be related. I don't think it is, because this looks like a totally different scene, but...
Yeah, I think it's a different scene, but it's still interesting to note that Mario team, a lot of times, I mean, we have this of Shy Guys finish last, we have that Western scene, this is the one with Mario on stage with the Shy Guys dancing. It definitely seems like there's a lot of instances of Mario getting up on stage with things. Though in this case, we see from that kind of first glimpse, it's on the battlefield. We can see like the ring battlefield down below. And since there's the whole ring scramble section, it'll probably tie into that.
Great point. We can also see some question blocks on the left, or like exclamation and question blocks. a new kind of Mario block, actually. Never seen that before.
Some great decorations.
So, do you have any idea of where in the game this takes place then?
I can't say I have any ideas as to where this is, though. It is interesting. These are all paper and not like paper mache or origami.
Good point.
So I don't think this is going to hurt Mario at all. Like, this doesn't seem like these are his enemies, because as we keep seeing, this is very much a paper versus origami and paper mache thing.
Indeed.
So this seems to be like a good kind of minigame.
I am all about minigames too, my friend. So. Speaking of minigames, we have this amazing target game where we can see you shooting down incoming paper planes. So we've actually seen a similar scene, not of you shooting them, but of the paper airplanes in the previous trailer. But if you look close, you're actually shooting the bombs right at them before taking them down.
Hopefully not your new companion.
Exactly. Now, before, I just realized something that confirms a theory I had, and that was I figured that this was on Bowser's airship based on the fact that you can see these like little fang-looking things. And sure enough, if we look at the top left corner there, we can actually see Bowser's airship icon.
Yep.
So I'm a little bit disappointed. Like, oh, I'm onto something here, but no, it just straight up confirms it. So yeah, it seems like you're actually kind of confirming or controlling Bowser's airship's cannons at the least, which is super cool. And so yeah, it seems like you will have to fend off the barrage of airplanes to some degree. Now, I guess do you think this takes place before the scene where they get attacked, where Bowser's airship gets taken down? It must, I suppose, right?
Yeah, this has to be before then, because I would imagine it's a matter of, in anger at taking out all the smaller ones, they group up to a big one. Because you also see a bunch of characters get launched off the airship when it gets crashed into, and I can't imagine they'd be able to do this at the same time.
Exactly. So that seems like it'll be a fun little thing whenever that crops up.
There's a lot of minigames. Like, as we keep going through, like, the gondola.
There's a lot. There's a lot in this trailer, jeez. All right, we have a scene of Mario meeting Bowser for the presumably the first time, where Bowser's like, Mario, you here too? So that's kind of funny. All right, then we have Mario meeting the bomb, who we find out is named. Oh, it's not here.
Well, not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, so we'll find out that soon. But apparently, this is where they they officially become traveling buddies, and it looks like based on the momentum of the cabin, it looks like they are heading back to Toad Town, I believe.
That is true. It does look like it's traveling in... No, wait, when it's playing forward, it looks like it's going... It looks like it's still going in the same direction of, like, kind of moving... Oh, actually...
Yeah,
it actually... Yeah, it is really hard to tell, because you can't really tell if it's...
It also depends on the camera angle, so it's really...
Yeah.
Impossible to say for sure. So yeah, I guess that's another mystery we have to see. Here we are, presumably back inside the Toad Tower. What we think, I mean, it could be a whole different area, but we're thinking it's the Toad Tower with our partner, Professor Toad, who has a shovel on their back, by the way, which I'm guessing is probably going to factor in at some point. Maybe this is how you dig up those toads outside, for instance.
We do actually see it in use. I think it's in all the extra footage and screenshots we'll have to go through later. But we do actually see him use it in like an overworld ability.
Perfect. Well,
which is nice.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll get to that very soon then. We can see them looking for what we think was a ghost in the first trailer, or some kind of it looked like a ghost based on the shadow, but it seemed to be based on what we saw elsewhere in I think in screenshots as well. I think it was like a faceless Shy Guy or something.
They're like yellow toads with their faces cut out.
Toad, that was it. That's right, exactly.
Which is really weird.
It's very weird. So that might be what they're looking for here. We did, at the very least, we saw a shadow of it in the previous trailer. That seems to be what they're talking about in this case.
Yeah.
Here we get another scene on the Sky Jungle area with Bowser Jr. Commenting on the way being rigged, apparently.
No. What's interesting about this, and we don't have footage of it, but I saw on, I think, Twitter, people posting from other trailers and other snippets and screenshots from other things. There's a section where, in this jungle, where Olivia, Kamek, and Bowser Jr. each want to pick a different path, and Mario has to pick which one. So this seems to be, if you pick Bowser Jr.'s path, it's the wrong path.
Oh, that's pretty fun. I like that. All right, moving onward. Let's see.
We got a nice look at all these characters.
Oh, here we go. This is a scene that seems to basically confirm. Actually, sorry, real quick. Yeah, that basically confirms what I think is where you land after being blown off, after being blown out of the clown car from being rescued at Peach's castle. At least that's my take.
Yeah.
Is that your read of this?
Yeah, it definitely seems to be, and especially it seems like they got stuck in a tree. Mario had to hammer the tree to get Olivia out. Right after landing, it kind of makes sense to why she'd be in a tree, and
exactly.
It doesn't really look like there's anywhere to go in multiple directions here. It's kind of a dead end.
Yeah,
so.
Bingo, right. And that's kind of typical starting areas for Paper Mario
right.
games. So yeah, so it looks like you'll probably be working your way back to Toad Town from this point.
Mm-hmm. Very Paper Mario 1 for sure in that case.
Absolutely.
Like from the first one.
Now we get another look at King Origami in a setting I don't recognize. I don't even know if we even know where this is. Do you have any clue?
It's weird because it looks like this kind of it's this weird kind of sealed off looking room. There's a lot of like weird floating lights. I almost want to say this might be from a confrontation with him. Like this might actually be something from really late in the game.
It's possible. That very well could be. Do you think is that the blue ribbon right there in the background, or is that just unrelated paper?
It doesn't look like shiny.
It doesn't,
like the ribbon does. It definitely looks like it's more just part of the composition of the room.
Okay. We see Olivia freaking out at meeting her brother. Not in that previous scene though, very clearly. We actually saw the scene that she's reacting to, I think, in the previous trailer, and even at the start of this one.
Mm-hmm. Now, probably right after he unfolds from the yellow shy guy, yeah.
Now we have a scene of Mario riding an elevator. Now, at first I thought this might be taking place inside the Toad Tower, even if it would be a little bit modern for it. Now, I actually don't think that's the case, because we actually see later on a scene that better suggests where it comes from, so maybe we'll hold off on analyzing it too much.
Yep.
I do like how you can see, though, the railings are made of course, rolls of paper. And we have Olivia commenting on the next floor being like basically a shopping center.
Like a nice department store.
All right, so we'll get back to this scene. There's more to talk about that soon.
Right.
And we get a look at, actually, do you think this is connected to that previous scene where they're in like a hotel room?
I don't, because I have a feeling where the previous scene is very different.
Very different, exactly.
And this very much seems to be in that the desert area where the very nice kind of, as you said, Las Vegas with snippets.
Exactly. I mean, we can see the palace straight up on the wall. So this actually, if this isn't in the palace itself, it's near the palace. So it is within the desert at the least, though. So not too far removed from the Toad Tower. Now, what do you make of that giant toad diagram with a crown on the wall?
It's interesting, and I wish it would tie into more of like, oh boy, more mushroom royalty. Maybe we'll bring back the Mushroom King from Mario 3.
Right.
But I doubt it's gonna tie into more than just kind of a mural. Maybe like a little like comical writing history section of the area. But
yeah, I agree. I one thing I do like is I've noted before in our previous analysis how many callbacks, both explicit and not, there are to previous games, and having like a nice hotel room is something we've seen before in the Mario series. I'm reminded specifically of Mario RPG, where you I forget the name of the town, but you go to this really nice hotel at some point. So again, I don't think it's an explicit callback, but it is just fun to see those subliminal references. So
yeah, it's nice to see the Paper Mario series kind of, or especially this game, call back on a bunch of the previous entries and other Mario RPG games.
Exactly. Next up, we have a look at the basically the town where that ninja mansion is. We can see it's what seems to be a sleeping chain chomp. Aw, who's a good girl? Says the bomb. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, says Olivia. We can see
petting it, yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, also you can't. Oh, that's a tweet right there. Can you pet the chain chomp?
There we go. You can pet the dog. You can pet the chain chomp.
Yeah, bingo. You can pet the bow wow. We can see a couple of sniffets walking around, origami sniffets, so they would be enemies.
Now, there's also this this origami right in front of the screen here. I think it's a dog.
Yeah, that's what I think
we
too.
see him a few times later on. I think it's a yellow toad folded up based on what we see later in the trailer.
Correct, right. So I think you're right. That's a yellow folded up dog toad thing. We can see the same mountain behind the what I believe is a ninja mansion or the ninja school at the least from the previous trailer, putting the mansion right about there, I believe. Unless that's gotta be where it is, I think. So, all right, moving on. We can see a missing part of the ground that you have to fill in with your confetti. Do you think this chain chomp will join you, by the way? What do you think the significance?
I feel like if the chain chomp is going to join you, it might have a bit more significance in showing it off, but I feel like it might help you in this area. Right. Like it might be part of a puzzle.
Next up, we have a hot tub scene, which looks very relaxing, and we can just barely see what appears to be a yellow toad on the left. So I'm thinking this is probably taking place in the desert again.
Yeah.
Based on the fact that's where we've seen the yellow toads. Exclusively, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, for the most part. I think there's been like one or two here or there in different places, but the toads seem to be mostly dispersed around the same colored ribbons. Like all the blue toads are in like that ninja town and on the autumn mountain where the blue ribbon is. A lot of yellow toads seem to be where the yellow ribbon is in the desert, so...
Right. Okay, continuing on, we get another look at the room that concluded the previous trailer where Mario put on a Samus helmet and it seemed to be playing some VR game. Where he was like walking around and holding a gun and you can hear like little Metroid sound effects.
Now I'll be disappointed if that isn't a minigame. Out of all the minigames we've seen
now. I hope so. I hope it uses Labo VR too, which itself is cardboard. It would be too perfect.
That would be great.
Now, interestingly, the Samus helmet seems to be missing, so I don't know if they just tossed it aside or if it got wrecked afterward or what happened to it, or... Yeah, I don't know what your take is on this.
This does seem to be after the Samus helmet,
right.
Because the Goomba head was original. Like while Mario is wearing the Samus helmet, the Goomba head was off to the right. But now we see that slot is empty because he's wearing the Goomba helmet.
And of course, he still have the DK helmet too.
Yeah.
So it seems like there'll be some kind of DK minigame as well.
Hopefully.
The blue toad is still wrapped up in the basket here. So yeah, this must be taking place immediately after the previous scene, as you were saying.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Actually, real quick. Okay, no, that's just blank. Where you would hang like a hat or something, or keys or something.
It almost looks like a circuit board where you like flip switches, but
yeah, it almost does.
But I don't think it's actually something to interact with. Yeah, that's true. They might be.
Next up, we have another look at the Babam buddy, and where they're talking about who apparently has amnesia and has forgotten. Both who they are or what they are, as well as even what it's called, being Ambrosia, Amnesty, Thinky Panic, which, oh my god, is that
That's
a
a great
Doki
reference.
Panic reference? Yeah,
that is a great reference.
I didn't even notice that before. I love that. And which is even more fitting considering the fact that's where Babams got their start. They first appeared in Mario 2, aka Doki Panic. So that's a fun little thing.
And that's where Shy Guys first came about, too.
Yep.
We see a lot of references to that, the whole theming with the Shy Guys and Snippets kind of fitting that as well. But anyway, here's Bobby.
Yeah, so this is Bobby the Babam. So Bob is already in their species name, basically. So it's kind of fun that, it's Bobby the Babam. Anyways... okay, now here, do you remember way back in the desert scene, I mentioned we could see the podium in the background? Now we can actually see what's there, kind of. And it seems to be some kind of cauldron with what looks like almost like a traffic cone. It's not a traffic cone, but like some kind of like candle maybe, or...
It almost reminds me of like an incense burner.
Yeah, exactly, with a sun icon on it. So I don't fully know what's happening here. It looks important.
Oh. I think, given looking around at like a bunch of the confetti down at the bottom, I think this is where that giant paper mache...
it's Pokey.
Like the giant Pokey is, and then you defeat it, and then you free this toad. Because this looks like it's right when you meet him.
Oh, good catch. I think you're onto something. So we'll be seeing that scene, I think, pretty soon, actually. So we'll continue on to be a Professor Toad, who, so this is where we meet him, it seems.
Yeah.
Alright, now we have Kamek holding a broom. So this is where we meet Kamek. And who doesn't, let's see, do they have, it looks like they don't have Bowser Jr. yet, is that right?
Yeah, this is interesting. They don't have Bowser Jr. yet here. And given the last time we saw them in this area, they did.
Right.
You probably land here or end up here with Kamek, and instead of going to the castle, you have to help Kamek find Bowser Jr. first.
Now, interesting, what do you make of the narrator saying Kamikaze has a penchant for cleaning, which gives a whole new meaning and purpose to the broom they fly around on?
So what's interesting is because we see some partner abilities seem to involve different things, like the Professor Toad can dig. Now I'm wondering if Kamek with this broom can clear away like these pile of leaves we see on the sides, for example.
That's
and
exactly
especially
what
if you go into the jungle, there's probably gonna be a bunch more piles of leaves. Maybe that's what Kamek's main purpose is. You can kind of clean up areas to uncover hidden objects. Because sure, Mario can hammer it, but that would just flatten it. That wouldn't get rid of it.
Exactly. So that kind of raises a point of it seems like each partner character will have their own ability. Kamek will possibly be able to sweep up things or brush things aside. We have the Professor Toad with the shovel to dig things up. The bomb presumably would explode like in past games. So yeah, it's kind of interesting. Are there what other partner characters do we know of so far?
We know of Bowser Jr.
We seem
to know of Bowser, and I think those are the only ones we.
So what did Bowser
know
Jr.
right
do?
now. See that's what weird. The only thing I could think of is maybe Bowser Jr. can carry you in the clown car over small gaps, like Para-Carry in Paper Mario 64 or something.
Good one.
Or
yeah,
Yoshi in Thousand Year Door.
Oh, one thing I wanted to point out before that I totally forgot to is I don't know if it's intentional, but it looks like there's arrows pointing down on the bridge, so I don't know if it's encouraging you to jump off these or what's happening there, but yeah, it might just be a design. Oh, we can see
that is a little odd.
We can see some speakers here too, so I don't know if it's for some kind of announcements or...
Yeah. Well, it's next to like this town map. Like if we go back to right before it's like next to this town map. So it almost looks like it's like a town square kind of area.
Right. Yeah, so it seems like this would be the place for PA announcements, which is kind of interesting. And again, we can see that same like shrine or temple or whatever reflected on the map.
Which is evidently now kind of replaced by Bowser's Castle,
right.
But
yeah, it's kind of a big deal.
It's a little ominous.
Very, just a little bit. All right, you can see Crunch to Bowser again, where presumably right after you free him from the hook.
Yeah, so this is definitely when they get Bowser Jr. in the forest.
Exactly, acting as Mario's boss, which I love. Also, another Thousand Year Door reference is these tiny dialogue boxes, which is something that first started, I believe, in that game. And I'm playing through it right now, so it's fun to see that. I don't recall those were in Color Splash. Do you remember if they were or not?
I don't recall them being in Color Splash outside of like it might be instead of a normal dialogue box, it'd be someone muttering to themselves before having a full dialogue box. But I really do love having these little other characters get their little comments while someone else says something.
Yeah, that's great. I really do love that. You have like multiple conversations going on.
Oh, actually, wait. Looking back at this isn't when you meet Bowser Jr. These are the different paths. He picked Bowser Jr.'s path, and the other two are just like, all right, but this is the way to go. But we'll go Bowser Jr.'s route, I guess, because Mario picked it.
Good catch.
That's what it looks like there, at least.
Yeah, and also I assume that you would actually meet Bowser Jr. meet in quotes when he's in rolled up form before you unravel it, right? So
yeah, probably.
I wonder what the hang-up is there, like why you can't unravel him until a certain point.
Well, I think he's raveled up specifically so Kemet can transport him because he's like injured. Because I remember in the original trailer, there's the whole like what looks like a hot spring they all land in, and then Bowser Jr.'s like, "Ta-da! I'm all good now." So maybe you have to like go like get him like healed and cleaned up, so he won't move on his own unless he's doing things like this.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I definitely know.
He just orders Kemet to carry him.
Yeah. Definitely knows the cleanliness angle, but it seems to be, he seems to be functioning fine here, so that's what's kind of throwing me off. But all right, next up, we have our first look or another look at the battle scene that we saw before. But we get way more of the battles here. I don't know how much we want to talk about it here. We have a whole video dedicated to the battle scenes because the website breaks it down a little bit better too. We can probably talk about it in general terms, but we do see one thing here that's important. We actually see the partner character attacking, confirming that partners will actually help you in battle, in this case using the bomb bump, which I kind of love. Now the question is, do you think this is something you have direct control of, or is it just something that happens?
Now, that's definitely tricky because we don't see any sort of indication of an action command being when he hits him. It just kind of happens. So they seem more like assists.
That's what I'm wondering, right.
Now, that's not bad. It's still a step in the right direction, but it's definitely interesting. Now, also, as I just remembered, one of the big points a lot of people point out about this Babam is he doesn't have, like, the fuse. So it makes sense that he's bumping instead of exploding. But it does make me wonder what his overworld ability is if he doesn't explode.
That is a great point. He doesn't have a fuse. How would he explode? So maybe it's something you can augment him with at some point, or he does something else. Maybe he has some kind of... Yeah, I don't even know. So... you just threw everything into a ray here. Alright, moving on. Okay, so this is a different angle of an area we saw in the first trailer. With the red ribbon, which I speculated might also contain like a volcano, just based on the on the idea of the ribbons matching the thematics of the area. But we can see some machinery here that the red ribbon's wrapping around, which is really interesting because it actually matches something we saw in the first trailer, something similar, some very similar looking machinery, not quite this in depth, also being wrapped around with a red ribbon. So I wonder how this is all connected. Like, do you have any ideas as to what this machinery is for?
So I almost feel like it's not tied to the machinery necessarily. It's wrapping around something. Strangely enough, looking at this yellow house with the machinery almost makes you wonder if this is actually Professor Toad's house.
That'd be interesting, yeah, because it is a yellow toad-looking house, as you said, and to confirm it as being a house, there is a mailbox right here too. So perhaps you maybe return Professor Toad here, or you can stop by their house.
Maybe you find something to help him or something. I don't know how the machines would tie in, obviously, but it's definitely interesting. Also, there seems to be a treasure chest right behind the bushes, right over Mario.
Yep,
something right there.
Can't miss it. I mean, you can. It's actually pretty easy to miss, but you can't miss it when we point it out. So
yeah.
What do you think? What was here? I'm not.
That almost looks like something you can hammer and flip over.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like we saw in Color Splash, I believe.
But those are much smaller things normally, so I'm not quite sure. Maybe it's like just a spot for flowers or something.
So now we see battles work, or at least begin as they do seemingly in past games, where you touch an enemy and starts a battle. Presumably, first strikes are back, I would assume, by jumping or hammering the enemy.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So yeah, this is where we get a really good look at the battle system. We can see, I love how the Toads comment in the background. I'm ready to be entertained. Like, these guys are out for blood. This is like their MMA right here. Jeez.
This is definitely a separate from Thousand Year Door's audience. They're not just they're not just watching like a play reenactment of the battles. They're watching the battles.
Exactly. So one of the key things
to them.
One of the key new things here is you can not just spin the wheels, but you can also slide the wheels vertically, or not the wheels, I guess, you're sliding the panels.
Right.
Which is pretty interesting. We'll see that in just a moment here. I like how and I love how the Toads are giving. Who said Goombas can't fly? I love how the Toads are commenting on the actual action that takes place. You know, like, hey, he did it right there.
Well, I think it's really great too that sometimes they give like what they think are like little hints, because they definitely can be. And I already saw some people complaining about, like, oh, well, this is gonna get annoying. And the first thing I think of is like, yeah, but isn't it annoying when like you watch like someone streaming a game, for example, and you get people trying to backseat game in the chat? It's just the same kind of thing.
It is, absolutely. It totally is. It's like a real life Twitch audience.
Yeah. It's pretty accurate to how people would act in a crowd.
It really is, isn't it? So one thing we should probably just mention real quick. Again, we have a whole video for this, but and we touched on this in the previous analysis too. But we can see that you have a weapons and item options, which is already more in depth than either Sticker Star or Color Splash's combat is. Now on the website, they actually show off you can equip moves in this game. And so it looks still a little bit confused, or not entirely clear on how exactly that's going to work. Are these all one-use attacks then still?
So from looking at the website, specifically, strange enough, on the UK website, it's not on the it's not easily translatable on the Japanese website by me, and it's not on the US site for some reason. The screenshots show that there's durability on those, but your normal hammer and boots will always be there. So the shiny, the other variants are, I guess they have durability. So you see there's a selection where Mario has like 4 different shiny hammers to kind of equipped in, but they don't seem to be one-time use.
That's right. I'm glad you brought that up. I actually, my mind's been fried since this morning. Yeah, that's right. So it does seem like you'll have access to a couple of base attacks, which you can then augment with these presumably one-use attacks, right? Or at the least like breakable weapons.
Yeah,
It's almost
yeah.
like Breath of the Wild-esque in that sense.
Yeah, it seems more like there's a durability to them, so it's good to have backups, but it doesn't seem like they're single use only. Otherwise, I don't really see a need to bother equipping them and setting them up in that menu if they were only one-time use.
And I missed if you just mentioned it, but in the pictures we do see one item with a bandage on it, which I believe represented like a weaker item before, so that could mean it's near its breaking point.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah.
But it's good that you'll always have access to the normal jump and hammer.
Absolutely. So that really does make it feel a little bit more RPG-esque. So this is getting back a little bit more to the Thousand Year Door battle system if that's what you're looking for. Again, it's obviously not a recreation of it, but like I said in Color Splash, it does seem like the series is slowly trending in a direction more toward classic Paper Marios. So this is kind of like their own interesting take on the whole idea. Now here is something. This might be the most divisive part of the battle system. Is that once the battle concludes, we can see a bunch of coins dropping in, just like in Sticker Star, just like in Color Splash, to my recollection. But no XP, at least not yet. So the question is, does anything else happen after this? Because in Color Splash, after each battle, you actually would get paint that popped out of the enemy, and that effectively was their version of XP. It wasn't quite XP, but that's basically what it was. So, what do you think happens here? Do you think that there might be something that pops out afterward that you can collect?
So, there's actually, from footage from the websites, you can actually see upon defeating enemies, they drop confetti, and I think that's how you actually get the different confetti. And you might have a way of leveling up the confetti, since we've seen instances, as we both mentioned in our analyses, where like the rings around it get bigger, so it seems the capacity for how much you can hold is bigger. So that might be what you can level up. And I think that fits a bit better than the paint, because you can choose not to 100% an area in Color Splash, and then the paint is only really needed in certain areas. But I would argue the confetti is a lot more useful, because there's direct puzzles of you need to fill it in to be able to cross this area. You need to be able to fill in the scab. You need to be able to interact with this thing by filling in the hole.
Exactly. Yep, I'm right there. I agree with you. So it does seem like confetti is functionally similar to the paint, but I think taken to the next level, as we've already said before. So hopefully that makes battles more rewarding, because it seems the confetti may inherently be more valuable.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
And I was also going to say, just because on the screen we're on now, we see Mario has 17,000 coins.
Yeah, that's
a lot of coins. But I think coins actually have like a decent use in this game compared to many others, where you use it to increase the timer for your kind of strategizing for spinning things around. And we don't, because you see the buy time button in the top right. We don't know how much it would cost, but I think that definitely makes a good use of coins to be able to give yourself more time to strategize, honestly.
Right.
And it's not too often that you see coins used for more than just buying items. So this kind of gives good incentive to collect coins, I would say.
Yeah, especially with the fact that you'll presumably be able to buy more weapons from item stores too to help out in battle. Which is a little bit Sticker Star-esque, with the sticker system. But again, I think they've evolved it enough that I think they're. It seems like they're striking a pretty good balance here. So a pretty good blend.
It's almost more like Fire Emblem or some other RPGs where you're just buying equipment that has durability to it.
Right. Now we see an ice setting, which I don't believe we've seen before, right?
I don't think we have either, no.
I have no idea where this takes place. I would guess maybe somewhere in the ocean, perhaps, but I'm just purely speculating.
Also, this is the highest we've seen Mario's HP at, I think.
160, that's right. I think I forget, it was 150 the cap in Color Splash, or was 200 the cap?
I think it might have been 200.
Okay,
but
so this...
I don't remember if we've seen Mario's HP any higher in any other point, but this is definitely like one of the highest we've seen, for sure.
Right.
So this is definitely rather late game.
And as Fire Mario, we can see the Toads commenting on it, make him feel the burn. He's hot, hot, hot. Gotta love it.
It's also nice seeing sidesteppers. We haven't seen sidesteppers in a long time, too.
Good point.
Like, especially of this variant.
From the original Mario Brothers arcade game.
Mm-hmm.
All right, continuing on, we have Mario dressed as Raccoon Mario, and with the Toads giving the commenting tail attack, woohoo, as well as, I love the tail. I love the tail too, Toad. I love that. So, some good stuff going on here. This seems to be maybe in the Ninja Town?
Yeah, this seems to be in the Ninja Town since you're
because
fighting
the ninjas too,
yep.
Yes. All right, then we have Mario using a POW block fighting the Spinies as well as a Goomba shoe.
Evidently.
Yeah. I don't know. Oh wait, what's inside that?
Yeah. This is definitely the Origami Goomba popping out. Yep.
Yep, that's it. We can see another look at the inventory here on the left. Oh, what's that toad saying? I can feel
the power.
Yeah. Something about your feet. All right. Okay. Now here we get to the boss sequences. So first up is this crayon box, which it seems to be for the. Is this for the red ribbon area? Based on.
Yeah. So this seems to be for the red ribbon area.
I love how the dialogue is actually colored in to match the pencils too.
It's definitely a nice touch. I do wonder if that'll make it feel a little hard to read, like on the eyes, like in motion in game.
Oh,
I'm hoping not. I'm glad, for example, the white colored pencil and like the beige colored pencil aren't in there, and or even the yellow, because that would be really hard to see on that background. The closest we see, I think, is like the teal, and I think that's fine.
Yep. Totally agreed. So boss battles work differently in this. Okay. Oh yeah, right. So we explicitly see the red ribbon here. So this is connected to the area with the machinery we just touched on earlier. So this eventually, it seemingly is where it culminates. So you can see the ribbons actually lead up to these spools, which I went over it quickly in my previous analysis. We actually saw a blue one just like this in the desert region in the Vegas Sniffet town specifically, where that rubber band creature was walking down or walking past. So, and we'll see that soon enough too.
Actually, if it was the blue one, it probably wasn't the desert region then. That was probably, like we mentioned earlier, with like the western town with the toad with the rubber bands. It was probably right around that whole area.
Sorry, you're totally right. Yeah. Sorry, my brain has like been fried, as I said, the past 2 days.
Don't worry, I totally get it.
In fact,
it's E3 time.
It's that very ribbon right there, isn't it? Or,
yeah.
That's pretty funny. All right. Do you think you can use this telescope?
Maybe if you come back here after the battle, because this seems to be some sort of like lookout point, like watchtower. Which, interestingly enough, since it's the top of the tower, I think this is where that elevator was going in that earlier scene.
Oh,
if it's the aesthetic, and I'm pretty sure I don't remember if it's in this trailer or in other footage.
No, it's in this trailer. We'll see. I think it's coming up in just a moment.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
So
yeah.
We'll get to that.
Then I'll hold off on that.
Next up, we see the rubber band creature we're talking about, which isn't in the desert. It's in the mountainous region, presumably. I love this. The toad's like nightmare fuel.
It's pretty accurate, honestly.
And look at the movement of that thing. It is so creepy, but you gotta love it. It reminds me a little bit of the steak boss from Color Splash, like a totally out there villain. So.
And we can also see kind of like the stage play looking area over on the left as well.
Right. Good
so it definitely seems to be tied to that same area.
I can't look. This toad says I can't look away. You can just barely see that before. That's awesome. Then we have this weird tape boss, which is in the purple or pink ribbon region, which is where you'll take the boat through.
Now, this is interesting because the architecture here, especially like that pillar in the background, that arc in the background, looks like where the green ribbon is.
It looks like the sky area we're looking at earlier.
It definitely looks like this area's up in the sky. Look at all the clouds. So it definitely seems like almost like Paper Mario Color Splash, these areas aren't going to be self-contained to kind of one little area. It seems like you might kind of cross through some of them.
That's pretty interesting. Yeah, that's cool. Again, I don't think I have to point it out, but we can see the insignia of the king on all these bosses, including on the cover of the pencils or on the side of the tape here. So these real life bosses do remind me a little bit of the things you would collect in like Sticker Star or maybe even Color Splash as well. I think it was mostly Sticker Star. But in this case, they've really ramped it up where they are just full-on bosses now. Oh, yeah. Look at that. That looks so brutal. Jeez.
Now, it's definitely nice that Mario has high amounts of HP because these things look like they do a lot of damage.
Yeah, just drilling into Mario. Yeah, look at that. Multiple 2 attacks.
It's nice to see the Guard Plus being used. One of the screenshots you see from the website shows like kind of accessories on. So if we see in the over on the top left, aside from Mario blocking, we see the Guard Plus accessory being used. So it's definitely nice to see that these things definitely come into play.
I love how in this case you're using a rubber band that just snaps completely. 16 damage. Yikes. I'm playing the 1,000 Year Door right now, and that would just kill me entirely at this point. Let's see. Anything else going on here? Okay, no. Just trying to see anything setting-wise, but No. Oh, we can see Mario getting flailed around by the tape, the sticky whip.
Did that toad open up with saying, do the thing, Mario? This is nothing, go Mario. Okay.
Nice.
It went super quick. Now, Mario fighting tape is just almost, like, kind of dark. Because that's just kind of dark. Let's hope this is, like, that kind of knockoff tape that, barely sticks to anything.
Yeah, this could really be damaging to Mario, yeah. Like, it just peels off all his color. He's just going to be...
gosh.
Yeah, blank afterward. Alright, so now we kind of see how the boss system works. We have to basically create a path to get to the boss, which is something we've never seen before in a Mario game. Mm-hmm. Totally unique. So that seems like a fun little idea. Mm-hmm. We can follow the arrows. What do these the on switches seem? Any idea what the on switches do?
So the on switch is probably what triggers like the 1,000-fold arms ability later on, like being able to use it.
That could be.
I know there's like the attack icons, which is probably how you deal attacks before doing other abilities. There's the arrows. It probably triggers some other abilities on here that if you don't press the on switch, they're not lit up. Kind of like how the 1,000-fold arms ability over there isn't really lit up, and neither are the arrows that aren't in play.
Right. Let's see. Next up, we have Mario just wrecking this boss, but we also have a toad saying, "Did it work? I closed my eyes." This toad wants arms like the 1,000-fold arms, as you were saying, where we have to forcibly close the boss.
Mm-hmm. And this kind of comes back to the idea of what Sticker Star and Color Splash did, where there's like certain kind of gimmicks and puzzles solving to the bosses.
Right.
But I kind of like this because instead of bringing the right objects to them, it's kind of using the boss's abilities against itself.
Exactly. It seems more natural. Like, you don't have to find the one key in the environment to beat the boss. Instead, it seems like you already have what you need. It's more focusing on the puzzle solving within the battle rather than outside the battle. And assuming that's the case, I much prefer that. So
Right.
Alright, we get on the look at the tree sequence, or rather, no, a tree sequence where you free a toad.
So this is when we start seeing the toads. This poor toad was folded up to be a cicada, but this is when we start seeing that a bunch of folded objects out in the world are toads. And I've already seen people take out this snippets of this whole section of the trailer of, this is a toad. This is a toad. You guessed it, this is a toad. And people are using that to, justify, oh look, it's all toads again. But... I
mean, I feel there's so much going on in this game. I'm not concerned at all about
no.
about there being a lot of toads. So, we can see like a swing back here. There's a Goomba walking around, a stack of wood.
There seems to be something on in the tree in the background on the left. There seems to be something near the top.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what that is. It almost looks like it's peeling.
It does. I'm not quite sure what's going on there either. Alright, moving on. We have, it seems to be in the same area based on the general setting, the mountains and the wood here. So there's like a little cabin. Mario can explore and pound the flowers to free a toad, evidently. We get another folded up toad as a dog, like we saw in the Ninja Village.
Fully barking and everything.
Another look at the kitchen we saw earlier. Some scrambled eggs or fried eggs.
Well, not quite. Because it's actually a toad too.
That's right, of course.
And then there's another one up top, stuck in like what looks like the pots up top.
Oh yeah, there
next
he is.
Next to the coin, he's stuck up there. This seems to be before you free all the. This seems to be before you free all like the mini Goombas, because that door isn't open. This next bit that it goes into, with the battle. This is actually lines up with what I came up with in my analysis of freeing the toads and saving all the toads isn't just for the sake of saving them. This is what the cheer button does. And this is how you get all the different toads in battle, and they do something because of it. And the trailer even says it, like saving the toads will give you access to other things such as this. And that's fantastic, because it's not just, oh, free toads, what do you get? Oh, you get more dialogue with the toads. There's actual purpose to it that'll help you in battle, so there's actual incentive to do it.
It's a way of leveling up outside of the battle system itself, which is pretty kind of unique and pretty fun. And again, it kind of ties into the 1,000-euro door idea where you could amass larger crowds, but that was based on performance, and that was more based on performance or your how far you were in the game. Whereas this is explicitly based on seemingly how much you've rescued of these toads. So I love this idea. We can see you're fighting some Hammer Brothers here, which we saw in the previous trailer. We're also seeing
Oh, the nibbler plants.
Thank you. The nibblers for the first time in this game. And they also seem to be on a tropical island, which makes me think this is probably related to the boat sequence.
Yeah, this is probably an island. Now, I think what's also nice with this, too, is if you look at how late this is and kind of the dispersion of the crowds and the benches, they probably literally all jumped off the benches and circled around.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right.
Because I do think all the toads in the background are also tied to the toads that you rescue. Because it seems like there's just enough to be able to fill it up perfectly that I feel like isn't just plot progression, it's a matter of how many you rescue. So I think it's a matter of you'll be able to directly see your progression of how many toads you've rescued based on how fleshed out your battle scene is.
What a fun idea. Alright, moving onward. We have Mario filling up a hole with confetti, as we've kind of seen before. This is a little bit more explicit than before. We get another look at those toad statues with wings.
Interesting that this is in a normal island, though, not a sky island, which is interesting.
Exactly, unless this entire ocean's in the sky. We see a green toad, which I don't. Did we see those elsewhere in the world before?
There was a couple that were folded up or hidden, but not like any clear as day NPCs out and about here. What you're highlighting now, by the way, is something I am curious on. This 100%
achievements.
Section. So, yeah, it reminds me of achievements, but it also reminds me of in Color Splash where if you filled in the percentage to fill in the color spots on every single level.
That is 100%.
Which is what's curious.
That is absolutely what that is. I actually forgot about that. You're right.
But what's curious about this then is does it mean there are indeed levels?
Right.
Because we've been debating that.
It would. I mean, that's exactly the question, right? I mean, it's still entirely possible to break it up by area and not have it be specifically level based, right? So it could just be Toad Town is its own, the Ninja Town is its own, the island.
I definitely think it's broken up by section because as you detailed in your analysis, there's no real reason to have the different kind of quick travel pipes if there's a world map and levels. There just isn't a point to it.
And we've seen no sign of the world map yet either. No. Either they're doing the best job of hiding it ever, or it doesn't exist. Because literally everything we've seen seems to connect to one another. A world map would kind of defeat the entire purpose of those ribbons and how they weave through the world, and just everything we've seen, as you touched on with the pipes and whatnot.
Right.
All right. So now we get another look at the blue ribbon, mountainous river region. We can see some kind of temple. I'm not fully sure what this is, but some kind of temple-looking building here on the left.
Yeah.
We can see Mario just came out of a warp pipe.
There seems to be some sort of switch near the door, all the way on the left. It almost looks like one of those switches. If you back up a bit, it almost looks like one of those switches, like a pressure switch where you have to stand on it.
Yeah. Oh, it even has footprints.
Oh, it does have footprints on it.
Nice. So yeah, I guess you have to work your way down there. Probably not too difficult. There's a chest here as well. Here we have a mini game that
more mini games
takes place. Do you know where this takes place?
This is probably the Ninja Town because it's the shurikens.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. But that is one dead giveaway. But also, you can actually see a ninja toad right there in the background.
Oh yeah.
Hopping around. So yeah. So this little Ninja Star game, or which is pretty fun. With Mario hammering these switches, and it looks like as a reward, gets a paper mache Koopa Troopa collectible number 44.
Paper macho, it seems they're called instead of paper mache. Paper
macho. You're right.
It seems they're called paper machos. That's pretty funny actually.
So we know there's at least 44 of these, probably well more. There's a tic-tac-toe game going on the right, by the way. I wonder if we can actually play that.
It's a fun little thing. It's a nice way to show this is the game room. Now, what's neat about the collectibles too is I think that means we know what that museum is for then. In Toad Town, that museum.
Good point. That's probably exactly where these go, right? So that's something I think we both touched on in our first analysis, probably. Next up, we have this scene that at first I thought took place within the same cafe as before, based on the tiny Goombas, but I don't think that's the case. For one, the scenery doesn't match, and then I think as you had pointed out to me earlier, these Goombas are paper Goombas as opposed to the paper mache Goombas, or the origami Goombas, I should say, from the previous scene. So do you have any idea where this cafe run by his Sludge brother is?
So, first of all, I don't think it's Toad Town. That's just one thing, because I think it'd be a little odd if it wasn't Toads in Toad Town, but It doesn't seem to be the Ninja Town because it doesn't really fit that aesthetic. And we see Mario's taking a nice drink and it's actually healing him. If we play the clip, we actually see that's what's happening. So evidently it's somewhere friendly, but it doesn't seem to match the aesthetic of places we've already been.
Yeah, I have no idea. So it could be any number of places, I suppose.
Right.
All right, let's go ahead and we do see Mario though healing himself by drinking whatever it is the Goombas presumably are, some kind of tea maybe, and we don't see how much it restores, but we do see that Mario has 110 health right now, suggesting this is a bit later into the game.
I do love the fact that like all the Goombas together are drinking from a giant cup.
That's really cute. It's really adorable. All right, moving on, we get this awesome look at a submarine sequence, which is almost definitely part of the boat that we saw. Because if you look close, I actually missed this initially, but if you look close, you can see some kind of like I think submersible on the back. So that's almost definitely what this is. You can use a boat to take the submarine underwater, and evidently you can use these claw hands to shoot out and grab treasure. So this just looks like what a fun little thing to add. It's a fun little mini game. As you can see, these this school of fish go by. Just what a neat thing, right? So
I'm assuming because of how much they're really pushing like treasure and collectibles, there's probably a lot to really fill in that like museum or whatever it really is with like the little that little figurine that we saw a couple scenes ago. That's probably what's in majority of these treasure chests as sort of a bonus.
I think you're right. Are these the what are these? Are these any idea?
They look like they're supposed to be bubbles.
Okay, they might just be bubbles. Okay.
Just in a paper world, bubbles being made out of like two sheets of like cardboard just kind of turn into circles.
Exactly. We're going to look at the island area. Maybe not the same island, but we can see some Goombas in the tall grass being obscured by. You can see a green toad in the back. Actually, is that the same island? No, that is the same island as before. So it is right back there. So this is just a little bit farther out from what the previous scene we'd seen.
Yep.
Moving on. We're going to ignore the sun.
Again.
Yeah, I think we're going to ignore it.
Okay.
This one seems to be going by quick. Now, this is interesting. We get a look at a top-down view of what seems to be like the battlefield with a giant mural on it. So what's your take on this? With a shy guy playing the guitar. I
think this actually might be from that Shy Guy minigame.
Sombrero guy, like a sombrero guy from like Sticker Star, actually.
Yeah. I think this might actually be that minigame that we saw in the Shy Guy or the Shy Guy
game
minigame.
Show.
Yeah. The game show. This might be one of the ring ones where you're solving a puzzle.
You're probably right. That makes sense. Cool. Next up, we see this scene from the previous trailer, which I don't think we see anything new here at all. We see a little bit more in the background here, but not really anything worth commenting on. Another scene from before. Here we go. This is it.
Yeah,
so
there we go.
This confirms that the elevator is in the same region, the Red Ribbon region. I believe with the pencil boss, obviously, as they are attacking Mario through the elevator. So this, you were saying earlier, you think this is why this elevator is found in that tower we take up to the boss.
Yes, definitely.
Makes sense. We can see Mario taking on the paper mache Goomba in Toad Town, I believe. Yep.
He's surrendering right before death.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
he has a little sad face surrender flag.
The flag. Oh, that's amazing. That's so great.
Wow.
Taking place near a fountain. There's a save block in the background. Right there. And this taking place. Oh, near the bridge that that we unraveled earlier. So. And we can see the wall just to the left that Mario used his 1,000-fold arms on to lower a piece of scenery.
And since the bridge wasn't undone or the red ribbon's there, this is probably like right when you come back to Toad Town for the first time.
Good point. We can see that paper mache Pokey you mentioned earlier, which might be coming up from that podium we saw earlier in the desert. So this reminds me of a boss from Sticker Star as well.
Yeah.
As much as I hate to say it.
Now, what's really interesting about this is from the original trailer, there was the giant origami mix of paper mache, like giant Koopa Troopa, and this. But we know from what this trailer showed us that the actual boss of areas are like the real things. So these are probably more like mini bosses. So that's why I was thinking this Pokey is like right before you meet Professor Toad.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that'll make a whole lot of sense. Now, what's interesting too is how the paper mache characters are missing some parts of them, you know? Like, I mean, there's no face, for one. It's vacant, and then they're missing parts of their body, so I wonder how that factors in exactly, but... Anyways.
It almost makes you think they're more like robots.
Yeah, exactly. Next up, we get a look at what I think might be the interior of a volcano with this flowing lava as Mario's being chased by a bunch of papier-mâché Goombas. So if I had to guess, I think this might take place possibly in the Red Ribbon region, as I speculated earlier. I could be off base, but that's kind of my guess.
Well, Mario's at 170 HP here. And the bag icon has a lot of rings around it.
Yeah, it's a big bag.
So this seems like this actually might be really late.
Well, that's why I wonder if you might be revisiting regions. I wonder if it might not be completely linear. Because I think even in Color Splash there are points where you would revisit a few areas in the game.
The only other thing I could think of is what if this is leading up to Peach's Castle?
That's a good point, because we do see the glow of lava underneath Peach's Castle. So this that actually very well could be it. So this might be a very end game type situation going on here. And in fact, I'd have to go back and look. I wonder if the texture of the walkway here at all matches what's around Peach's Castle.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Here we have Mario in the forest, seemingly waking up. So I don't know. What's your take on this?
There is a clip of this in the and not the Japanese trailer, but just like off the Japanese website, where we see these trees all kind of wake up. This stump down here wakes up, it gets eyes. It's some sort of elder.
Oh, okay.
Is what it seems to be.
We'll have more on that very soon then. Then we have Mario holding onto the side of a mountain before being blown off. Do you think this is in the sky region?
Yeah, given all the clouds below, this seems to be off one of like the sky islands.
So what do you think the sequence of events is here? Mario's by himself. So is this like? Do you think he gets blown from Bowser's airship to here before being blown again?
Yeah, I have a feeling that might be what happens, and then you go down to the actual like jungle because of this.
Maybe. Yeah. We get another look at the paper airplanes attacking Bowser's airship, which is the scene I was just commenting on. Here we get this amazing model of what appears to be Toad Town, I think.
It kind of looks like it. Although the layout doesn't really match.
The layout doesn't really match, no. And yeah. So I don't know
actually,
if it's just...
Okay, so given Olivia's dialogue in this area, if we play through the dialogue here, I think this might have to do with where her Ollie came from.
Yeah.
Because if we look in the back corner, there's what seems to be like a throne for Ollie, like kind of made, and other things. And then there's a whole bunch of origami kind of put up on the walls. This almost seems like a kind of like a room where he like planned things, and this might be his plans for like what his kingdom would look like.
That could be. He might be onto something there. Also, Luigi is with Mario here.
Luigi being here gives a lot of hope that Luigi might become one of the traveling companions at some point.
Right. The only time we've seen him so far, I believe, is when he's taking Mario to Toad Town to start the adventure. Yep. So, yeah, it does make you wonder at what point in the game this takes place. Also, Penguin!
That is true.
All right. Let's see, anything going on the table in the background there? No, don't think so.
No, just the throne and the thing kind of falling over, but that's about it.
Right. Okay, we see Mario opening up a castle, like tower, to reveal a toad, of course.
What else would it be?
I love. Okay, this gave me serious Breath of the Wild vibes right here, where you knock down a tree to create a bridge, which is exactly what we saw in one of the trailers of Breath of the Wild.
Right.
Which is pretty funny. We see Mario going along a mountain ridge with his Bob-omb buddy, dodging falling obstacles. And then, what's your take on this scene? I don't know how it can go on. This is so dark. Did they get
this is really
trapped?
dark.
Are they just giving up? Like, what's going on here?
I have a feeling this is obviously this is a cutscene because of no UI, but this is probably like really, maybe not late, but like middle of the game. Maybe they get trapped. Maybe Olivia doesn't really know how they can get out of a situation, and you know, it's the Super Mario that restores her hope somehow.
Exactly.
Or maybe one of the traveling companions frees them.
That could be. This might be taking place in the same lava region we saw earlier with Mario jumping platform to platform. We actually saw a similar glimpse of the scene in the first trailer where we could see these birds in the background shooting fire.
His HP is a lot lower here though than the one where he's being chased by all the Goombas. So this might be earlier, but maybe same area, but earlier for sure.
Good point. Yeah, he does take 15 damage, which is quite a bit for an overworld hazard. Jeez. And of course, the save block is past this point.
Yep.
We actually saw this scene earlier too. I think in either the trailer, a previous trailer, or a screenshot. And we can explicitly see Mario using the tree stumps as a bridge with Mario along with Kamek and Bowser Jr. As the Chain Chomp is going to town on the enemies below. Which is pretty great. So do you think this is before the Chain Chomp starts chasing them, or?
I have this feeling the Chain Chomp's going to be actively chasing them throughout the area.
Yeah.
So not like you're always on the run, but it'll keep popping up because it's constantly trying to chase you.
That could be. I love how it's getting torn into shreds of paper. That's really violent.
That is really violent.
Holy crap! So here's the base of the tower where we face the pencil boss. We can see the pencils right there acting as missiles. Yeah, dropping into the ground. Look at that, tearing up the environment, which is hilarious. I love that. We get a look at a battle in the region of the red ribbon region, or no, I'm sorry, the blue ribbon region. With
the Autumn Mountain,
where the river is. Yep. We can see Galoombas here as well. I think our first look at Galoombas, if I remember correctly.
Yep. I don't believe we've seen them yet.
Yeah, it changes to back to the island. Nothing too new there, I don't think. Now this, what? We see like it's a Pokemon battle. We have like a Pokemon dragon fighting a red dragon with Mario riding it. Holy crap! So is this a partner character? Like, what is happening here?
So
and then we are facing a boss, by the way, as you can clearly see.
Yeah. So this is definitely a boss. This definitely has to do with some sort of like ability to take out the boss, because this is this giant like flaming bird-looking boss. It makes more sense to go into it here. We do see a little bit from footage from the Japanese website where you're able to what seems to be kind of summon some of the origami bosses that you already fought, like the Koopa, and use them against other enemies and bosses. So that's what this seems to be. So evidently you'll fight this water dragon, this origami water dragon at some point, and then you're able to kind of summon it to fight this fire bird.
That's pretty exciting. This looks epic. All right. So yeah, I guess not a whole lot else more to say about that. Then we have an extended look at the Indiana Jones ball from the previous trailer, but now we can see the direct involvement of the Origami King himself. Unfortunately, we don't see exactly what happens after this point.
Well, it definitely is good to see that. It seems he'll be kind of popping up throughout the journey trying to stop you. He's not just locked in his castle the whole time.
That's a good point. It's not just it's unlike Bowser's appearance as Sticker Star, where it just kind of like randomly appeared at the end.
Right.
So it's nice to see that there seems to be actual character, if not development, character interaction along the way. Then we see the opening of the game again with Mario and the gang flying away before they get blown out of the clown car, which we saw in a separate scene. I think on the website or one of the trailers or something.
Right.
All right, and that is, I believe, the entirety of the trailer. Dear God, that took us so much longer than I expected it would. So
and that was just the trailer.
Yeah, so we still have all those gameplay to go through. By the way, this is our amazing opening. I downloaded our own video for this. Love this. Huge props to Jan for making it. So we may have to go through this a little bit quicker. I think it will be quicker naturally, but there's fewer scenes, I think. It's more extended looks. So first up, we get this giant turtle, which is a boss you're fighting.
So what's nice about this is actually the giant Koopa origami that we saw popping up out of like the ground in
the first trailer.
In the first trailer, yeah.
So that's cool. So that does in fact confirm it's a boss, and there's something really unique about this coming up in a little bit. In this case, it looks like you actually throw the turtle into the air.
You flip it over and then hit it in its weak spot, which is really rude, to be honest.
That is really bad. Holy God! Mario is brutal in this game.
This is the version of Mario that has to appear in Smash, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any indication on where this takes place?
See, it seems to be underground. I would think, and based on Mario's HP, this is probably in that first area before you take out the red ribbon. Mm-hmm. So this is probably a mini boss of that area.
That would make sense. All right, next up, we're outside the base of the pencil.
And this is exactly why. So we see for the first time, or maybe this is normally what happens, Olivia's used in this special origami spot, and she somehow unfolds and refolds, despite not having anywhere near that much paper, into that same Koopa boss. And
that we just fought.
It helps out here.
That is wild. So yeah, it seems it can assume the form of these. Do you think of every mid-boss you fight, perhaps?
I definitely think a good amount of them is what it seems like. And any of the ones that are origami like this, at least. So that way Olivia can turn into them. I don't know how she manages to turn into them, but...
So in this case, it seems to be used to knock down the tower so you can actually access it and climb up to it. So, I wonder what kind of tower this is for anyway, like a radio tower? Or...
It looks like a watchtower, given, almost like a kind of a scenic watchtower, given our first look at it earlier where there was kind of like the telescopes.
Good point. Next up, we're fighting more of the same, what are they called again?
The sidesteppers.
Yeah, sidesteppers, thank you for before.
And this is exactly what I also mentioned of, just like having used it in the overworld, you also use it in battle. Olivia comes out, gets summoned as it, and it seems that it's not re-summoning that boss, it's specifically Olivia taking the form of it. Mm-hmm. That's what it seems like, at least. I'm not really sure of the significance of that, but evidently it's pretty good to use in battle.
It took them all out.
I don't think it has any sort of like special action commands or anything like that, so it's again more like a bit of an assist. But it kind of reminds me of the Crystal Star abilities from Thousand Year Door.
Good point. Yeah, it'll be interesting how exactly that's governed. Like what's restricting you from using it over and over, right? Right. So, anyways, next up we're gonna look at the pencil boss that we just lowered the tower to. Yep. Is there much new in this one? Do you know?
Not too much. It's just kind of the Japanese version of it.
Okay, I'll speed through
it kind of gives some of the same look. It's definitely nice to kind of keep seeing. We see here there's more toads being rescued. This poor toad stuck in the middle of a tree stump.
Poor guy. One stuck in the wood.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see the different ways the toads can get stuck. Because sometimes it's not just them getting folded up, so they're definitely getting stuck in areas. And there's definitely a lot of ways to trap them. So it definitely seems like we'll have a fair amount of ways to have to rescue them, and that might be something that's also tracked in like the museum, for example. Maybe just as a matter of like something on the wall. It's like, here's your progress. Like instead of how many star pieces you collected, it's how many toads have you collected.
Good point. Now here we get another sewer scene based on the lighting we can see in the background, which matches what we had before.
Yep.
And Mario, looks like there's a green pipe there, so perhaps he took that from Toad Town, maybe, to the underground? Yeah. I'm not sure.
It's possible this is the pipe outside Peach's castle that we saw a long time ago at this point.
That could be.
Or one of the other green pipes in Toad Town. But we see he uses the Thousand-Fold Arms ability here to start this pipe and let out more water. I'm not quite sure what the significance of this is, because I would imagine that would only raise the water level, which you would think would put Mario in danger, but yeah. I'm not too sure.
I'm not sure either. That's a great question. Maybe it's probably used for puzzle solving, I'm guessing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe there's a ledge you can't reach unless you raise it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure otherwise. We have Mario throwing confetti to fill in the gaps.
Now, what's interesting here to me is this shows like just how much confetti it takes up to be able to fill in these areas, and that definitely makes you realize, because he needs like at least 4 throws to fill that in.
And look,
you see the bag go from full to like almost fully empty.
The icon goes from green to yellow. So
now, sure, this is like really early on, because he's at 50 HP and the bag's at like its original full capacity. So this probably shows just how much incentive there is to do battles to actually get confetti if you're using that much. Oh, and that little clip there, here, this one you're on right now, Birdo's kind of coming down for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah. I don't know why Birdo's floating down through the sky, but...
That is so random.
There's our Birdo reference for this game.
Hey, Birdo had a great sequence in Color Splash, so hopefully...
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Let's see, is that... This is the area we saw before.
Yep.
This is where Mario was. Where we
started off.
Like the
basically.
first scene. Yeah, basically started off exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
this is definitely pretty early on. So this is what I mentioned with like the trees kind of open up. They have eyes. This seems to be some sort of elder tree stump.
Yeah, this one's blinking even too.
Mm-hmm.
So another look at the gondola scene, which we basically seen before.
Yep.
Oh, that hole is toad shaped or mushroom shaped.
Yeah, it definitely looks like something you'd be able to enter once you kind of fill in. Whether it's a house or just a doorway, I'm not quite sure, but it definitely is meant to be enticing with that toad shape. We see.
Okay, this. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so this first clip, walking through the grass, is basically the same, but this one's more interesting because it's a drained pond. And we see all the poor cheeps kind of flopping around.
They can't breathe. These poor guys.
But you see, it's not just the paper ones. Right before it cuts away, on the far right, there's actually the origami one as well.
Oh, there we go.
So it's affecting both cheeps. This seems to be something you cause, because I'm pretty sure you actually see this area with water in a different section.
Coming
earlier
up?
on. I think it was
okay.
like an early trailer or something. I feel like we've seen this area with water before, and we see the boat is also kind of stuck. This seems like something you cause so you can get through to the other side.
Oh, actually, I didn't even notice that boat there. So, yeah, looks like Mario's been busy. All right, we saw the sequence before. We can see a chest right down below.
Yep, which has already been opened.
Oh, so here we go. The entrance into
the Ninja Town.
Ninja Town, yeah. I like the arrows totally marking the entrance and exit.
Yeah. And it's also nice the blue ribbon wrapping around part of the Ninja Mansion or the Ninja Tower, so it's kind of proving that's an important point to stop at.
So in fact, is that where it concludes at the top there, or does it continue onward?
It's hard to tell if it concludes there or if it goes. You see, because it can either go up and over, or up and then in from the top of the tower.
So that it could possibly be where the rubber band boss battle is.
Yeah, it's possible for sure.
It would make sense. I mean, this does look very much like a place where you would encounter a giant boss. So. We see more of the town. Which
as they enter the town, we see a geisha Goomba comes out of hiding.
So we are getting some actually unique characters here. In fact, and there's actually a screenshot too that has even more coming up.
There is a bit further. This is really important. This is what I mentioned earlier, where you see when you defeat enemies, they drop confetti. This is also nice because you see when you're in this kind of somewhat overworld area with the car, you can just plow into enemies and immediately defeat them. And that's how you get the confetti.
And the confetti gets sucked right to Mario too.
Yep. And you see there's a bunch of the glowing spots in the sand, which when we see Professor Toad's ability, that's what he interacts with.
That makes sense. That's the dig spots. Good catch. Here, I'll get a close-up look at the palace in Sniffit Town.
Yeah, here we are. So we see this kind of ruins area. He uses it. He digs out treasure, specifically one of those figurines. The figurine for that.
The car.
Yep, there's a figurine for that car. We can also see in this area here, there's some like origami like boos and pokies, and then there's what seems to be a folded up toad as a scorpion, as you're focusing on right now. Now, I don't imagine it would hurt you. I think he's just kind of going to stand there menacingly until you free him. But the other enemies are more dangerous.
Here's a boo as well.
Yep, the boo, and then slightly above him is a pokey. Now, I kind of like that this area is a little bit of a maze, though. I think this is interesting. But I'm definitely curious if each kind of glowing spot... Because this doesn't look like a super big significant area. So I wonder if each glowing spot you'll stop at, and then it'll kind of go to one of these bigger areas where you have to reach this point to dig up a treasure.
That's a good one, yeah. Another mystery. All right, so we're looking at more.
We're looking at this entrance again.
Yep, nothing too important to say. Oh, we actually get to see the pink ribbon for the first time during the actual boat gameplay sequence.
Yeah, so we can see there's definitely a fair amount of the water that you have to traverse. We see the Shy Guy on the lone island that we mentioned earlier.
Right. So I assume you can disembark, maybe, perhaps, or I guess there's no dock here, there's no pier.
Yeah, I think if there's a dock, you can, but if not, I think that's why they're just talking to him on there.
Right. Let's look at the. Oh, look at this.
So this is a really interesting area too, because what we see here is we actually see the captain of the ship on the left.
Right.
And on the Japanese website, he has a page just like Professor Toad and the Bomb. So he's some sort of traveling companion as well, though maybe just for this section since he lets you use the ship. Okay. But the captain of the ship just kind of stands there trying to look cool in his coat as he kind of watches everything going on. In this giant skull, we can actually see in the nose is the back of one of those winged toad statues.
Oh yeah, good catch. Wow, that's hard to see.
And then there's a fire flower next to a sniffet on the left, kind of like right as the boat docks in. I'm not sure the significance of this island because there's no ribbon here, so this isn't like your final destination here.
No. There's probably some quest along the way. You may have to stop at these islands for some purpose. There are, I think you mentioned there being 2 toads here, right?
Yep.
So...
Yeah, there's the blue toad that you see kind of actually controlling the ship, and then just the captain standing up there.
And also to confirm the dock idea we had, you are in fact parking at a pier here.
Yeah.
All right, here another shot at the desert with a ribbon going through. So I think we're at the screenshots now.
Yeah. It is.
Oh no.
It is mostly a screenshot. There's still some other sections like this. Now this I think is the entrance to what would become this. This is how you climb up to that island, the floating island, because this is where all those toad statues are. This very much feels like a gateway leading up there.
Yes, it does.
I'm not. Oh, maybe Bowser Jr. is how you get some of those ladders, because some of those ladders don't look like you'd be able to reach them.
Good point.
So he'll lift you up with the clown car, maybe.
That would make sense. You can fly with that thing. Yeah, look at that ladder right there.
Like the one up top there looks like there's a platform under it. Like kind of.
That's true. You can walk along it, yeah.
But the one that's like at the base of the tree, it doesn't look like there's any real way to get up to that.
That is correct. And what's over? Anything? No, that's just another tree.
Yeah,
okay.
it's just other.
Oh, that's that's where the hot spring is.
Yeah, that's that
we
floating
saw in
island.
the first trailer. Breaking more.
No, this is what I mentioned of picking directions. You have to pick which direction they go, and then you pick Bowser Jr.'s, and then he gets upset from that other one. So there's some sequence of events there. And then we see the chain chomp again, this time in action. See, this is what leads me to think. This is what leads me to think it keeps popping out.
Right.
But yeah, because they're just trying to jump, and then it appears behind them. So this isn't them jumping to get away from it, it seems.
So I believe that's the same floating island I just commented on before.
Yep.
We're seeing it from a different perspective, suggesting this is a pretty big jungle, perhaps.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right, here we are, a close-up view of the entrance of Peach's Castle.
That's what the pipe's for. There's the pipe on the right there, and it'll probably put you on the opposite side since the bridge is out. And that bridge is actually destroyed. There's no way to get there.
Good call. Yeah, that would make sense.
Okay. I think if you back up, there's actually, if you back up to the previous clip in front of Peach's Castle, really slowly, there's actually a shy guy back there, stuck. He's on the far right. He's actually stuck on the very far right. Like,
far right.
Far right of the screen. He's stuck on the other side of like a hole in the ground.
Okay.
If you back it up a little bit. So you might have to rescue some of Bowser's minions from this area, because he looks like he's stuck on that side. He can't really cross. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it, yep. Right on.
Here we see the Goomba surrendering again.
The poor guy's getting destroyed all the time.
Oh, so here's actually going into that museum.
Right.
Which is what's actually kind of important, I think. Because now, let's see, as soon as you go in, this is what it looks like. And there's a bunch of different doors, a bunch of different sections. And there's that pipe. Yep.
That's the same color pipe I noted in the pipe room.
Yep. So I think that is where you go for quick travels. And then otherwise, I think each of those different rooms up top are for different kinds of collectibles. Different stats or something. Or maybe or different areas for collectibles. Because on the on the far right door, we see a music note. So there you can listen to music up there, evidently. And on the far left, you can't really make out what that icon is. It's kind of hard to tell, but that might be for the figurines. And then we don't even know what the 3 doors above are.
No clue. We won't know in just a month, so that's a fun thing.
Yeah, that is good.
All right, we're gonna speed through the battle sequence.
We don't really need to go through the battle so much.
This is from the opening of the game with Luigi taking Mario to the castle or the town, Toad Town, as they roll in. Look at that. That is a beautiful town. The drawbridge is up, interestingly.
Yep. You probably have to find a way to bring it down so you can get in there.
It seems like the town's been ravaged when you get there.
Just a bit. Which makes sense. So we see a screenshot here of, just like earlier, using the 1,000-fold arms ability to take out a tree to be able to cross.
Yeah, it looks like we have I think we're at the screenshot portion of the video for sure, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of different things here kind of going on. This was kind of interesting with the Shy Guys, but there isn't much to say other than it seems to be in the red ribbon area, because you see the blue one in the distance, unless you're heading towards that, but you're not really using a gondola, so this is probably in the red ribbon area, given Mario's also at 50 HP.
Right, so I guess you have to look. Almost like it looks like some kind of battle arena. That's not a fight, but you have to take them out, I guess.
Yeah.
Giant Pokey.
We've seen a lot of that giant Pokey. Here's another clip
Yes,
of
we
this.
have.
Yeah. So yeah, so there's the giant Firebird, and then there's another clip of actually taking it out using the origami, I guess, water dragon thing.
Mm-hmm. Then we have another top-down view of the rubber band boss.
Mm-hmm. Not sure what the question mark and envelope is that we see in both of these.
Yeah.
You see it here and in the next one. Not quite sure what that is. I'm assuming it gives you something if you run into it, maybe an item.
Or a Smash Brothers invitation.
Oh, please, that'd be perfect.
Wouldn't that be great? Paper Mario, wouldn't that be an amazing way to announce a Smash Brothers character inside the game itself? So you get another top-down view of the pencil boss.
Mm-hmm. There's a treasure chest on there too, which is interesting. So evidently you can also get treasure chest in the middle of battle.
Oh yeah, good call. This actually reminds me a little bit of Mario Party with how you go through this board. It's almost like a board game based boss fight.
Yeah, it's very like mini game like. So here we can actually see that yellow toad house is indeed the same one from early screenshots where there's the sort of machines being coiled around with the red ribbon.
Oh yeah.
So this ties it all together. It's not a different one. This is the same one.
Right, it's the same one. Then we can see a Koopa Troopa hanging out by the sign from the previous trailer.
Yep.
And we know that one of them will become a partner at some point, right? Yep. I believe.
It seems like it, yeah. Even if some of them are weird, because they seem like they're partners for only one area, and the others seem like they're partners for more.
Right.
So,
okay.
This is interesting, because I think this is the base of that tower. Because this is some brand new building, but given how much HP Mario is at, I would imagine, and how almost like gift shop, this like kind of left side of it looks, it almost looks like something you would get when you first enter. And plus, there's the whole elevator right in front of Mario, where there's a poor toad stuck in the door of the elevator.
That has to hurt.
I think that's also a red toad folded up into a paper airplane kind of triangle on the right, kind of stuck up on the wall. So there's definitely
right here too.
A lot. Oh yeah, over there too, stuck as a postcard. So this seems to be the base of that tower. And there's a lot going on here, but there's a lot to fill in, too. I don't know if Mario has enough confetti for that.
No! Look at all these giant holes. They need a better maintenance budget, that's for sure. Another look at the Shy Guy.
So we have another look at this, the kind of the Western setting. It seems to be a mini-game, since it says ready. And instead of the spike, you're fighting a Sniffet.
Oh, yeah, that might be it. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is entirely new.
Mm-hmm. This seems to be right after defeating the boss for that Koopa. And then now, I guess this is right when Olivia gets the ability to become it, and then you use it to, I guess, uncover the warp pipe to get out.
Right. Yeah, we can see the warp pipe right there.
So we see here, which is nice, this is how you uncover those quick travel pipes.
Right. Yeah, so how do you know how you actually uncover it, though?
Well, because there's the sticker on top of it.
You just peel it off.
Yeah, it looks like you would peel it off just like you did for the bridge in Tota.
So that actually, that answers a mystery I had from the first analysis. It's like, how do the pipes appear when you access them for the first time? But it seems like the pipes are probably there, possibly, but you can't use them because they're blocked off on one end.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's cool. Now we know where 2 pipes lead, explicitly.
Which is good.
Moving on.
Yep.
Okay, same cabin as before.
Yeah, more of what we've already seen here.
I like it's almost a little bit of an animation there. Oh, here's it's a swan. We have a swan in the middle of the lake.
That poor yellow toad. I don't know how you would get him, but
yeah, that's a good one. Actually, yeah, there is a block right there. I don't know. It doesn't help at all. So yeah, you got me. Because look at the maze.
Yeah, there's the one that looks like a scorpion.
Yeah, creepy.
Another look at this cheap.
Can't get enough of that cheap.
Lots of coins, actually. That is a lot.
It is.
So we see here, yeah. So if you look back at the tower, it looks like it actually goes up
in.
and then in.
Yep.
Yeah. Instead of
That
behind
answers
it.
that.
Mm-hmm. So
now
that
we know
definitely seems like the end point. Because wasn't when you fight the rubber man, you saw there was like the blue one coiled up. It was inside, right?
I believe that was the case. Yeah.
So this is another look at that Angel Toad Town.
Oh my god.
That is horrific, by the way.
Yeah, it is. Holy god. And yeah, you can. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say just Toad, just mouth open, just water endlessly pouring out from this fountain. This doesn't feel as like heavenly as it should, but maybe that's because of Bowser's Castle there destroying the original building and now taking the place of it. But we see it's inhabited by a mix of angel toads that have wings and everything. You see like kind of on the left. They're not just the statues. But it's also inhabited by Bowser's minions. We see some Shy Guys there. They look like they're kind of cleaning up the ground.
Yeah.
And then there's the Origami Goombas just kind of chilling out on the left on some nice sun chairs. Which,
you can see a spike working in the background too.
Yeah, the spike working in the background. There's another one of those kind of announcement, megaphones areas in the top left. We see
with a statue on top.
Yep. We see what seem to be. Oh, you know what that is? On the left, on the far left, those are shops. You can see there's a figurine for the little angel toad. And then a mushroom, what seems to be an accessory, and then something else to the left there, but I can't really point out what it is because it's cut off. But it's run by Sniffits.
Yeah, it looks like maybe a drink or something?
Yeah,
it's hard to say.
It's hard to say what it is, but... So that's like a special little shop, it looks like.
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting shot. And... Yeah, oh, that's a gap in the wall. Okay.
Yeah, that's just from the destruction of that whole building.
We can see what seems to be a Koopa... What is that right there? No, I thought maybe a Koopa Troopa, but Toad?
It might be a Koopa Troopa. I don't know if it'd be a Toad, because it looks like all the Toads here are the Angel Toads, the white Toads.
Right.
So that might be like the back of a Koopa or something.
These Angel Toads are adorable, by the way.
They are pretty great.
And another unique character trait, so character model.
It's true.
Okay, moving on.
Get
a better look at the area.
Yeah, a better look at the area. This seems to be when you first get there.
Right.
Now, what's nice too is we can see the green ribbon is actually coiling around the top of Bowser's Castle, and it seems to be what's making the. It seems to be it's going in the very top. If you look at the very top, there's like the whole spike dome and there's holes, and it looks like that's where it's entering.
Yep, you're right. So do we know what... We don't know what boss battle takes place there, then,
No,
right?
we don't know what boss battle takes place there, but I assume that you would go there with Kamek and Bowser Jr. And interestingly enough, on the far left over there, the far left might be that hot spring area. If you look up top, there's it's kind of hard to see, but there's another floating island with a bunch of trees. That might be that hot spring island.
Oh, this one right here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that might actually. That's a good one.
Now it's on like your level. That's probably where you take Bowser Jr.
Could it be? Is it represented on the map there?
Oh yeah, that does look like it is.
Yep.
That would definitely line up position-wise. I'm curious how you would get that question mark block on the left. I assume, because like the one that's on the ground near the side of the cliff over on the left. I assume you can walk up to it, like on a thin path there. But
I would think so.
Hopefully you can't fall off.
Or hopefully you can. That'd be a fun. That'd be a fun little thing to drop from. Okay, here we have Mario apparently plucking toads from the ground like they're turnips.
We see they're not all planted the same way, because that one is just his hand sticking up.
Yeah. That's hilarious. This is like Pikmin right here.
Just a bit.
Okay. Otherwise, not too much to comment on beyond gaps in the environment. We're nearing the end here, finally.
Yes, we are.
Oh, we get another great look at it. Wow. Hey, we get the number one pipe right there.
We see one pipe. There's a Monty Mole down in the bottom by a bunch of Koopa Troopas.
There it is.
There's a paper Monty Mole, 3 Koopa Troopas. Maybe they're planning something. There's a gondola on the right.
Wow, another gondola station.
That's actually really nice. Maybe that's how you get back to Toad Town afterwards.
That could be. That will make sense. Interesting. So now we know there have to be at least 3 gondola stations in the game.
Yep.
All right, very cool. Anything else going on here?
Nothing too exciting around here, other than I think one of you see like all like the spike fences that might be those are reminiscent of where some of those Thwomps came down. And then it looks like under the Game Explain logo, it looks like there's some toads that might be down there.
Oh yeah, I think that's probably where the previous scene was.
Oh, that is. You're right. They're like stuck in the ground. Yeah.
All right, well, there we go. Man, look how much we're uncovering.
Yeah, really.
All right. Okay, moving on. Another... Oh, then I think we have some inventory shots. We have a whole video about this.
Yep.
So we'll go ahead and pass through this.
This
quick.
is really nice, though, to see.
So, yeah, it is good to see.
So...
And... Go ahead.
I'll say what's really interesting here is there's 3 slots for like the Heart Plus to increase your HP, but we've seen Mario at like 50, 70, 90, 120, 110, 130, 160, and there's way more than just those 3. So I think in addition to those 3, there's some other way Mario also gains HP.
Yeah, I mean, in Color Splash, you would get HP ups as set points in the game.
Yeah.
So that might be the case here as well.
And then you also get these.
Exactly.
Now,
so this seems to be basically Origami King's version of the badge system from Super Mario 64 and Thousand Year Door.
Yep.
Which, if I understand correctly, if my interpretation is correctly, that is super exciting. But I don't know. If it's to the same extent, because you can see they're very specific slots they're filling in here. So this might be more of an upgrade system rather than a true loadout type thing.
And I think we can also kind of figure out what a fair amount of these do, because like the second column we saw that was Guard Plus. The third one seems to increase your timer. The fourth one with the bells seem to be, there's one for treasure chest and one for items. Those are probably used during boss battles, like when you're fixing around the circle. Remember what we saw, there was the treasure chest that appeared during battle? And then the one on the right I think is for a bunch of other extra things. I'm not sure what's up with what looks to be like a key card and then like a cherry blossom bag. But
yeah, you got me.
Those are probably very like specific, unique like key item inventory things.
Yeah, actually, I think the more I look at this, I don't think the badge system is quite the best comparison. So it looks like it is doing its own thing here, but it is intriguing. Like how exactly this works. Are these just collectibles that you can just equip once you find them?
I think it might have to do with strategizing, because notice the heart is checked, but all the top row ones are checked, but none of the ones below them. You might only be able to check one thing in a column, so they might do different things.
Oh, good point. So okay, this actually might be a little bit like a badge system then, kind of. Okay, yeah.
So you have a column of things that affect health, a column of things that affect defense, a column of things that affect time, and then it's a matter of which one do you actually want active.
So we're already seeing, like, even at the surface level we're able to look, or at, minus what we're diving into, we're already seeing that at a level of depth beyond anything in Sticker Star Color Splash.
Yeah.
Like, there is, if you weren't a fan of those battle systems, at the very least, there's far more going on here than in those games. So it may not be Thousand Year Door, but I wouldn't write it off entirely based on what we've seen.
Oh no, definitely not. This definitely seems to be like its own thing that is going quite the few steps further to make it really interesting.
Exactly. And that's it, my friend. We finally reached the end of everything. Holy God.
Oh, man. That took a long time. There was a lot.
Took so much longer than I expected. I don't know if anyone actually watched this entire video. If you did, please comment. We'd love to hear from you.
Yes, definitely.
Wow. My brain, it was fried going into this. I woke up and immediately started covering Paper Mario.
Yep, same thing here.
It's even more fried after this. I'm so glad I had you here, Tris, because like this stuff, like until I sort it out like in script form, it's just like a complete mess in my head. So it was good to have you here to help me sort through this.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I absolutely love doing this, and I am so happy to be able to look at it to this degree. And I almost want to say, even though this went a long time, I don't even want to think about how much longer it would have been if we did individual analyses.
Exactly. No, before I was on the fence whether I would do a scripted thing or not. Afterward, there's no way in hell. By the time I finish the analysis, the game would be out.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, this is the most analysis you're gonna get. I wish I could present it in in our usual form, but the amount of time and effort it takes especially when we're reaching a point where we'll probably get even more assets or more trailers or more screenshots. It grows exponential. And plus, I think as we said earlier, we've laid out the groundwork pretty well in our previous trailers. Yeah. This is more just kind of filling in some of the blanks.
Yep.
But yeah, Tris, thank you again for joining me. And where can people find you at if they want to follow you and see what you're up to?
Yep. So you guys can find me over at Source Gaming. That's where I do most of my work. But you can also follow me on Twitter at ToonTris, where I do a bunch of my own things. I do my own Twitch streaming. I mean, heck, as Andre mentioned at the start, I'm a mod in the Game Explain server. At me and say hi if you like this.
Absolutely, you should do that. And with that, I think we're about done here. So thank you so much for watching. And if you like what you saw, click that subscribe button for tons more on Paper Mario and the Origami King. Hopefully not immediately soon, because I'm beat after this. And tons more from Nintendo as well. We'll catch you later, guys. Bye.